Welcome to the AM show on the Joy News channel. Now, I don't know where you are and what you're doing, but one thing I can probably predict is your positivity outlook for the day. And that is what will win you today. So be positive about everything you do. Be positive about your effort today. Don't look down on yourself and the things you do. And that will give you a win today. So set out there. It's quite drizzling, but I get it that when you step out there in that positivity, you'll win as well. Let me run you through how today will be on the AM show. We'll start, of course, with the AM news, and then we'll follow it up with the AM sport, where we'll give you a wrap of what's happening in the world of sport. What is happening in the FIFA World Cup qualification in Europe? Are the big names dropping or they are qualified? We'll tell you. After that, we'll bring you the news review. And today is Wednesday, right? So we have Dr. Kwame Asante. He is a political scientist with the University of Ghana. He'll be joining us. Kobe Amwa is a lawyer and member of the Kennedy Agyapong communications team. He'll be joining as well. And then we'll delve into the big stories, where today we begin our series, Dear Mahama. Illegal mining has polluted Ghana's rivers, and now it's stripping young girls of their dignity. In Kwesi Krom, in the Aguna East District, teenage girls trek for murky brown water during their menstrual periods, with the Kwenyako water treatment plant shut down due to heavy pollution from Galamsey. Clean water has become a luxury, and many girls are forced to bathe and clean themselves in filthy ponds shared with animals. You heard me right. They share that with animals. While teachers admit pupils often come to school unbathed and embarrassed. Why is that happening? We'll have more on this later on the show. We also have Citizens Microphone one. That's been long in coming. We'll bring you that one. We'll give the microphone to you. And today we hit the streets of Accra to find out if you know who your member of parliament is and what really his or her achievement and what have been those achievements in the past month. Adwoa Safo will be on that particular beat. We'll also tell you about the flying hospital project by an NGO called Orbis International. The flying hospital landed in Ghana last week to train eye surgeons at Kolebu and Konfuanoche Teaching Hospital, and they performed some selected eye surgeries in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. We'll also bring you AM Business, brought to you by EcoBank, where the Chief Executive Officer of the Tree Crop Development Authority has been sharing insight on how the authority plans to scale up production and value addition in Ghana's tree crop industry. We'll tell you much more about that particular one. We'll also have some drive-bys as well. This show is brought to you by Keroga Company Limited and also by Syntex Tanks. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace, and as usual, I do this with MFA Akosia Adeti. Let's start off with the AM news. Let's do the AM news now. And aspiring national chairman of the opposition New Patriotic Party, David Kankam Bwedu, has called for unity within the party as internal tensions threaten to undermine its image. Mr. Kankam Bwedu urged all 5 flag-bearer aspirants to come together and appeal to their supporters and to end the ongoing insults and divisions. Mr. Kankam Bwedu expressed concern that the party's reputation has suffered due to the growing hostility among factions and emphasized that the MPP cannot win future elections without unity. He said the focus should be on reconciliation and teamwork, noting that a divided front weakens the party's chances of recapturing power in 2028.
Calling on our 5 aspirants to call for press conference and speak with our party supporters so that they will stop the insult and bring the party's name into a place where everybody will be happy with it. But for now, the party's name is not attractive at all. So I am calling on President Kufuor, President Akufo-Addo to call our aspirants so that we meet them, they have a press conference and speak to their supporters to stop the insult, at least to forge unity, because with unity we have power. But We are now agonizing. We cannot win power if we continue like this. So I'm calling on my aspirants to have a press conference to speak with their supporters to stop the insult so that we have peace in the party. My name is David Kankambodu, and you know I am contesting to become the national chairman of the party. I am looking for a united party and not disunited or disintegrated party. Let us unite the party, and that is what is about. We cannot think about winning power if the party is disintegrated.
Now, Supreme Court Justice Dennis Dominic Ajay has emphasized the need for Ghanaians to deepen the understanding of human rights principles and international law. Speaking at the launch of his new book, International Human and People's Rights, Law and Practice, Justice Ajay noted that while Ghana has ratified nearly all major international human rights treaties, many of the cases filed from Ghana at the African Court end without addressing the substantive human rights issues. According to him, this trend suggests that citizens and practitioners need more knowledge about how to effectively engage international legal systems. Justice Ajay believes that a better informed public can play a more active role in promoting accountability and justice.
I want people to appreciate the importance of human rights and how the international courts determine matters involving human rights. As a judge in Ghana and as a judge in the African Court, I know how the international court determines human rights matters, which at times are at variance with what pertains at the domestic level. So I decided to write about all the international laws with human rights jurisdiction on the globe. That is why, if you look at the book, I've written extensively on the African Court on Human and People's Rights, the Banjul Commission, that is the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, the European Court of Human Rights, the Inter-American Court of Human Rights, and the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. Ghana has ratified all of them, with the exception of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That one, it is not a treaty, it is a declaration, but through passage of time, it becomes customary international law, and therefore forms part of the laws on the land.
All we see has been a performance in adhering to the tenets and dictates.
Fortunately, the cases from Ghana to the African Court, most of them terminate on either jurisdiction or admissibility without going to the merits. So in future, if you get a case on the merits, that's where I'll be able to say that Ghana does not adhere to human rights.
So looking at the book as it is, who is it made for? Students, lawyers?
I write for the legal profession. So it is for lawyers, judges, academics, students, activists, and all human rights practitioners, as well as all ensemble, because human rights is not limited to only one person.
Efforts to groom future leaders are being hampered at Adankoman Senior High School in the Ascent South District, where severe infrastructural challenges persist. A recent downpour ripped off the roof of one of the school's buildings, worsening conditions and triggering renewed appeals for government support. MP for Ascent South, Reverend John Intim Fojo, says temporary measures have been put in place to sustain teaching and learning, but stressed the urgent need for lasting infrastructural solutions.
Behind the long-standing academic success of Adankoman Senior High School in Ascent South District of the Central Region lies a struggle with persistent infrastructural challenges that continue to hinder effective teaching and learning. Member of Parliament for Ascent South, Reverend John Intim Fojo, has highlighted the school's pressing needs, appealing to government and other education stakeholders for urgent assistance, particularly as a new batch of students joins the school this academic year.
Adankoman SHS, one of the highest performing SHS in Central Region, a Category B school, a school which performance is quite an inspiring story. From humble beginnings, we struggled to bring this school this far. Over 1,080 boys and girls, very brilliant, studying on this campus. But for the past weeks, we've seen a devastation, the roofs and some parts of the classroom blocks all ripped off, a dining hall completely razed down. Some part of the dormitories also affected. And now some of the students have been displaced, but we've managed to find temporary arrangement to house the students, and we are making some temporary arrangements to ensure that learning continues. We are also expecting the newly posted student to report in a matter of days.
He explained that some temporary measures have been put in place to sustain academic activities at the school.
So we need the urgent intervention of the government Minister for Education, Get Fund Administrator, to ensure that they support us with an emergency construction of a classroom block, at the same time an emergency construction of a dining hall that will be able to solve the situation. And so every student must be assured, every parent whose ward has been posted to Adankwama SHS must be assured that come 18th October, when your ward reports there is a decent place where they are going to be temporarily accommodated, notwithstanding the devastation we've seen to the classroom block, the dining, and some parts of the dormitory.
District Education Director Isaac Opoku Inkum also echoed the call, emphasizing the need to address the school's infrastructure deficits.
When it comes to the dining hall, that is where we're going to have a challenge, because we cannot create a temporary, we don't have the space to create a temporary dining hall for the students. So far, that's what we've been able to do. As for the classrooms, we are managing to get a temporary place, and the dormitories as well. But our major challenge will be, for now, temporarily, will be how to get a temporary dining hall for the students. So we need support. We need support from all and sundry.
From Asindaman, Abigail Lesol Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Now it's time for Climate Focus and your weekly look at how Ghana is taking action in the face of climate change. This week, we explore Ghana's National Adaptation Plan, a roadmap designed to make our communities and development projects more resilient to rising temperatures, flooding, and shifting weather patterns. Leading this national effort is Dr. Adwoa Safo, Director of Climate Adaptation and Vulnerability at the Environmental Protection Agency. He explains why climate change is no longer a distant threat. It's here, and Ghana must adapt now to secure the future.
Ghana is reeling from the harsh impacts of climate change, from scorching nights and shifting planting seasons to flooding in cities and rising sea levels along the coast. Experts warn that without urgent adaptation, livelihoods, health, and national security are at risk.
Your bedrooms are getting warmer and warmer than before.
Director of Climate Adaptation and Vulnerability at the Environmental Protection Agency, Nana Dr. Adwoa Safo is leading Ghana's National Adaptation Plan. He says the evidence is clear that climate change is no longer distant. It is here with us.
The planting season has changed and has shifted. You cannot even predict anymore. In the past, farmers can say that, they clear the lands February, March, April, they start planting. Today, it is not the same. For people who are living along the coast of Ghana, for instance, some people are living far away from the seashore. Today, either they have been forced to move or they are about to move because the shorelines is getting closer and closer to them.
The vulnerabilities are widespread, from drought in the north to salt intrusion in coastal farmlands. Urban areas are also seeing rising floods made worse by poor planning.
From 1980, even before 1980s, hardly will you see flood conditions in cities. From 2000 to date, almost every year. So the frequency of flooding conditions had been increasing. The other things that we are also doing as people that are exacerbating the climate impact. We have drainage systems that are very tiny, narrow, that cannot take the volume of water. And even some of these drainage systems are already full. We are sealing wetlands in cities where it's supposed to be the belly of these runoffs.
That is why Ghana is developing a national adaptation plan to build climate resilience into every sector of development.
Before climate change, we were building schools. Before climate change, we were constructing roads, and we still construct roads. Before climate change, we were building hospitals. Can we continue to do development the way we are doing it? No. And so adaptation planning is looking at incorporating climate change adaptation issues into our development agenda, looking at it from medium to long term, instead of doing emergency responses.
The NAP is built on long-term climate projections, looking as far ahead as the year 2100, with milestones set for 2030, 2050, and 2080. Plans have already been drawn for key sectors, including agriculture, transport, disaster risk reduction, and ecosystems. At the local level, 45 district assemblies are also developing their own adaptation plans.
So we have done climate projections. The projections are telling us in terms of historical data and then current data and how is the condition going to look like. So we've projected into 2100. We've also done plans for agricultural sector. We've done for transport. We've done for disaster risk reduction, about 5 main, and then ecosystems. We are also doing plans for the MMDAs, but because the MMDAs are many, 261, the funding we have currently had been able to support about 45 of them that are also developing their adaptation plans.
But funding remains a major hurdle.
Because they are now doing the costing, but we wouldn't estimate anything less than about 300 billion.
Billion
Yes.
cedis or dollars?
Dollars. Roads, schools, hospitals, for example. And the health sector is one of the key sectors that we need to talk about. Both the service that they are rendering and the infrastructure that they are putting up. It has to be climate proof.
To bridge the gap, government is looking to combine public resources, donor support, and private sector investments in areas like solar-powered irrigation and green infrastructure. With the National Adaptation Plan set to be launched soon, Ghana hopes to move from emergency responses to long-term resilience, ensuring that future development is not only sustainable, but climate-proof. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Now, the Director General of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, Professor Samuel Dampare, is warning that illegal mining activities could expose miners to radiation-related cancers and severe skin infections. He says Galamsey operations are disturbing naturally trapped radioactive gases beneath the Earth's surface, posing serious health and environmental threat. Angela Lower and Mercy Loco have more in this report.
Speaking at the 11th Symposium on Naturally Occurring Radioactive Materials in Accra, Director General of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, Professor Samuel Dampare, observed that illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, is increasing the concentration of radioactive materials in rocks and soils. According to him, the trend places both miners and communities at risk.
That is the naturally occurring radioactive material norms. And the issue is that most of the time people are talking about radiations and they are afraid of radiations and all that. But we have naturally occurring ones already in rocks, in soils, just that their concentrations are quite low. But due to activities that we do, especially can be maybe the Galamsey activity, it can be the oil and gas industry, you can increase the concentration levels of these norms, and then people will get exposed to them and will have effects on them. So having people to really identify it, let's put maybe cancer issues, and then depending, as I said, the level of the radiation, you can have skin effects or skin issues. Some can maybe penetrate, that can attack your, let me put it, your body, your skin.
Speaking to Joy News, Director General of the Nuclear Regulatory Authority, Francis Otu, said steps are being taken to control radiation exposure from mining and other extractive activities.
So what does this one mean is that we are looking at, if environment disturb, what are some of the measures we are going to do to make sure that the experts are here, we are going to share ideas, we are going to come out with the strategies, and then likewise, how infrastructure-based infrastructure we can able to do it so that...
The Vice President of the 11th Symposium, Marta Garcia Talavera, noted that addressing the challenges of naturally occurring radioactive materials is a shared global concern.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity, not only for the country, but for the whole region and international community. This workshop is about achieving more effective management of norm in the country, and this also brings opportunity for sustainability, valorization of residues. Their approach to manage norm-related challenges is relevant to the whole international community, so it's a win-win for everyone.
For Joy News, Angela Lawe and Messi Locos report read to you.
Well, Ghana Water Limited appreciates Labadi Beach, Kempinski Hotel, Guinness, Villaggio and resident of Nungwa Zongo among about 60 customers for their loyalty and prompt payment of water bills during the company's Customer Celebration Week. There's more in the following report.
The Ghana Water Limited took its appreciation to the streets, from major commercial clients like Kempinski and Labadi Beach to homes within the Nungwa community. The initiative forms part of the company's annual Customer Service Week celebration, held to acknowledge individuals and institutions that have consistently paid their bills on time. Speaking to the media, Chief Manager for Greater Accra East, Richard Apia Otu, said the recognition is not limited to high-income earners, but also extends to loyal domestic consumers whose discipline supports the company's operations. He added that such commitment from customers ensures sustainable water supply and helps the company to carry out maintenance.
We went there to recognize very dedicated customers, low-income customers who pay their bills on time. The criteria we use is that first, we generate the bills every month, and every customer gets the bill related to their consumption. Once the bills are issued, the regulator, which is PRC, gives people and customers some duration to pay. Customers who are able to pay within this duration, we did a ranking to see customers who pay first or pay on time on account, all their bills, so that the balance is actually zero. But we have some of these customers who have actually paid on credit. So we have they've overpaid the bills, and then they have credit accounts with Ghana Water Company. So we look at the customers from the lowest level, somebody who pays 200 cedis every month. As soon as the bill comes, the person pays. You realize that we went to the Zongo. She says she pays 250 every month. As soon as the bill comes, 250. The day she receives the bill, the following day she pays by mobile money at the convenience of her home. And then the big customers too that you saw us recognize, as soon as they receive their bill, they transfer the money directly into our accounts without the need of Ghana Water staff coming to chase them to pay, coming to chase them with resources.
Now Mokos report read to you.
Welcome to the business updates part of the news, but we'll start off with what's happening on the currency market. Associate Professor of Finance at Andrews University in the USA, William Pepra, has urged the Bank of Ghana to equally punish banks and SDIs that do not comply with its revised sanctions for issuing debt checks. The regulator revised the sanctioning regime in respect of issuance of debt checks for strict compliance by banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions, SDIs. Reacting to the development, Professor Pepra stated that it is imperative to punish both parties accordingly.
If you look at the sanction very well, the 10%, 15%, or 20% charge is not a fee or an income to the bank. It's a levy that must be paid to the Bank of Ghana. So what I probably will want to see if Bank of Ghana will come out further and say if a bank one fails to report, what sanction must be applied to that bank, which I couldn't read that one from it. Probably they must even pay more on that, and that is something that will really help to solve this issue. Because sometimes I've been in finance before in Ghana, so I know what we do as finance people. We can even negotiate with the bank and tell the bank, allow us this check to then use a Ghanaian check, let it bounce. Then I'm going to bring you the money. So it is not only the customers. Sometimes the banks are also involved. So Bank of Ghana should also come out with additional sanctions to banks that allow this to happen and they don't report.
Let's wrap up the business update with what's happening on the commodity market. And that's all in the business update, and that's how we wrap up the AM News. Up next is AM Sports. All right, so welcome back to the AM show. Time for us to go into what the papers are reporting this morning. Remember that the AM show is sponsored by Konoga Company Limited and Syntex Tanks. But I'll give the rest to, okay.
I thought you wanted to talk about Syntex.
No, I would leave that to you.
Okay.
Because people want to hear your beautiful voice.
Well, I'll
with
tell
that
you
beautiful
about
face
it.
of yours.
Well, then let me tell them. Ghana,
Okay.
let's talk water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. Your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it. That's if it doesn't, then it's not the correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is the champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable and built to handle Ghanaian weather, rain or shine. Syntex tank has your back. So, my people, go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Call them 0244-335-168 to buy now, or find one of their 400 agents nationwide. You can as well shop online at syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, are you strong? Are you tough? Could your time now to bring you what's happening on the newspaper? I'll just take a quick tour. We'll start with the Daily Guide this morning. And the biggest one in front of the Daily Guide this morning is Greater Accra embraces Brian Agyapong. Greater Accra has embraced Brian Agyapong. The story is on page 3 of the Daily Guide this morning. And Ahmed Swale killer freed. If you followed that story, the businessman Daniel Koranting, who had been charged earlier in this particular case, had been freed upon the advice from the Attorney General, which is very common in criminal law. Usually, the prosecutor will then seek advice from the Attorney General whether or not to proceed or not. And upon the advice, he had been freed. If you want the details of that story, it is also on page 3.
I think, is that usually based on the evidence presented to the AG?
Of course, you have to provide everything in the docket. He seizes and then he advises on the way forward.
Okay.
It's not done in vacuum. Of course.
Okay, all right.
The story is on page 3 of the Daily Guide this morning, and 4 caged over food delivery scam. You recall there's a story about how they developed websites on delivery or delivery apps, which are all scam. You want to take a read as well on page 6 of the Daily Guide this morning. The insight, major defections hit Bawumia's camp. And it says that Naa Torshie, Adwoa Safo joins Ken as Top Guns and also Mob Brian. And it says that these 3 people that you see in front of the inside, well, I didn't think that they had pledged their commitment or their support to Dr. Bawumia.
Yeah.
But the story seems to suggest that they had shifted.
Because they were there in the 2023 primaries.
Okay.
I think that's where they are basing their story from,
Okay. Well, then that story as well is in the Insight. You want to look at that as well. The Accra Times, Galamsey is a national crisis, but government will stop it. The Vice President has been giving some assurances and eulogy to Apostle Dr. Safo Kantanka and was unique. And the page is on page 2 of the Accra Times, and I'm certain this was when they visited the Speaker of Parliament. And you heard the comment he made about being sure that Adwoa Safo did
not vote for him.
Really? That's interesting, because I wouldn't. How would he know?
But Adwoa Safo also said that she didn't vote for him.
Okay, then. So it is. He's basing this on Adwoa Safo.
I'm not sure, but I'm sure. Well, maybe he has intel that we don't know. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good news for junior doctors as Health Minister secures clearance. He's been giving assurances when he spoke to the media the last time. I will take you to the next paper. The Ghanaian publisher Bawumia urges civility, and this is because he begins his constituency campaigning today.
Yeah. Yesterday.
Yesterday, actually. Okay. Okay. And well, you can see the vote number 3 is on there. You can read on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times. And
number 3 on page 3.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Number 3 on page 3. Well, government deceiving nurses, minority as well have been addressing on the challenges of paying nurses. But the minister has been giving assurances. I'm not sure where the minority is coming from with this one, but the story is on page 3 if you're interested. Another story that has both of us our attention earlier before we came on was Tano North MC aiding Galamsey royal family has been accusing, and the story has provided details of a company that the MC had granted permits or some sort of allowance to go and mine, and this is illegal. And Kojo was just saying that, hey, you know how much we came on. The news center, Momo runs on one of the world's most secure data system, and Momo chief has been speaking. I'm sure it's because of the challenges some people have been facing, fraud, scam, and all of that. This is to reassure you. And again, the news center is reporting that Bawumia begins his 275 constituency tour today. Story is on page 7 this morning. And I will go to the custodian. No insults and personal attacks. And this is by Bawumia as he starts nationwide campaign today. Again, the story is on page 3. Something about 3 on all of the newspapers for Bawumia this morning. This story is as well on page 3.
So maybe they just want to rhyme with 3 and 3.
They want to?
Yeah. So Bawumia is on position 3 on the front, on the page 3 of the paper. So yeah.
Okay. Well, so Bagman urges unity in Apostle Kojo Safo's family. I'm sure
very, very vital.
Yeah, you're followed. And this is very normal when a person passes. People express their emotions differently. Don't deal with this person, deal with this person. I think as a country or as citizens, we should give their families some privacy to deal with their loss and grieve properly. So this call is just in order. And finally, for me on the custodian, minority slums government for neglecting new nurses and midwives. You can grab a copy of a custodian this morning and then you can take a read. But of course, what is the headlines without going on to myjoyonline.com? Let's take you now there. Ghana's oil output peaked in 2019. PIAC warns of sharp production decline.
Yeah.
That story is our top story this morning. It'll interest you. But when you're done as well, you can take a read. A US-Ghana deportee deal. International conventions must guide Ghana. It's a very good read. You want to read that. Professor P.J. Etua is the one that authored that.
But I love a story on there. Veep adopt survivor and baby River Otibo tragedy. Donate relief items to families.
Yes, when she visited the region, that tragedy is not anything we should see again in this country as well. And we're glad that she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to read that one as well on myjoyonline.com. So many stories. You have a lot to choose from to read on myjoyonline.com. Kujo?
Okay, thank you very much.
That'll be all for the head.
So MFA will take her seats now. I hope the cameras will capture her walking anyway. So
oh dear.
MFA can come now. When I hear the okay, so that's MFA Akosia Adeti. You see, MFA, you know why I do what I do. I don't
know why you do what you do.
I've always been telling you that in the mornings, everyone needs inspiration.
Okay, so they should drink green tea.
Green tea.
And read the Bible.
Oh, we've been reading the Bible always.
Yesterday you had a rosary.
Yes, exactly. Beautiful rosary.
Yes.
I've hanged it in my room.
Okay.
Yes.
Then the Lord is with you.
Exactly, always, you know.
Well, let's get into the news review, Kojo. Dr. Sasante has joined us. You want to introduce him for us?
You just moved me from my motivation, but that's fine. I wouldn't begrudge you. I'll leave it there. Dr. Kwame Asante is a political scientist. He lectures at the University of Ghana. Prof, grateful for joining us here. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Kojo, and then MFA, as well as our viewers, of course. I want to also say good morning to my brother and friend, Mr. Kobiamwa.
Okay. How did the party go yesterday anyway?
Which party are you talking about?
Oh, you know the one I'm talking about.
Okay. The little girl. Oh, she had a good time. She was all over the place. And then we also help us to enjoy the day.
Okay,
yes.
All right then.
It's my hope and prayer that he follow instructions at home and then do what is expected of her, and we leave the rest with God.
Okay, all right. Kobi Amwa is lawyer and a member of the MPP and also a member of the Kennedy Agyapong team. Good morning to you, Kobi.
Good morning, Kojo, and good morning to you, Doc. Doc didn't invite us for the party, but we are here, and good morning to all your viewers this morning.
Okay. Let's start from the Daily Guide newspaper, right? On the front page, Greater Accra embraces Brian Achampon, one. Ahmed Swale into inverted marks, killer freed. So more of someone who was accused for that murder but has been freed upon the advice by the Attorney General. Also, Mahama secures zero tariff deal for Ghana for caged over food delivery scam. But maybe we start from the Ahmed Swale case, right? Because when the guy was picked up, charges were preferred against him. But like MFA explained earlier, based on the docket that was presented to the Attorney General, he advised that, well, let's free the young man. Dr. Sasante, what do you make of this development?
Yeah, Kojo, before I come to this, I think you have to allow us our 2 minutes to be able to talk about some of the topical issues. Today, I want to bring my lens on defaulting doctors who have taken loan from the banks and have left this country without paying. I don't think it is a good example. We are in this country that we want to build the private sector so as to support our efforts to make ends meet. So the best you can do is to seek financial support from any of the financial institutions, and your corresponding duty is to pay for what you have taken. So I was surprised to hear that about 70% of those who took the loan are out of the country and have jumped out of the country without paying the loan. It is very, very unfortunate because that bracket of people we hold them in high esteem, and we expect that they will do things right. Let me also add that it's not every doctor, no, but those who have defaulted, because we had information that Ghana Association of Bankers, they came out with this. It is unfortunate. When we do that, we destroy the banks, and at the end of the day, we destroy the economy. I think it is not a good example. So I am happy that the banks have taken the trouble with government through Foreign Affairs Ministry to be able to trace them and get them. Doctors, wherever you are, please settle your debt. It is important so that you become credit worthy, so that it also gives us, those of us who want to go to bank and seek for loan, the opportunity to be trusted, and then also the bank is prepared to do business with that. And I will extend the conversation to Momo users. Some of the people that you and I know in this country, they take little loans from the telecos, and then they run away.
Yeah.
They abandon the chip, and then they don't pay. That's unfortunate. We cannot build a strong economy with this type of attitude where we destroy the very institutions that put food on our table. Please, we need to wise up and do the right things.
Well, I always tell people that when you take those loans and don't pay, there's someone who's losing his capital, and it's also someone who's losing his or her job. So we need to think about that. Anyway, then we should also give Kobe Amwa the same 2 minutes to share with us his reflections. Kobe, if you have any. If you don't, then we can move on to our substantive issues.
Okay, I think just something I'll comment on briefly is in relation to Ghana and whether or not we need more lawyers. Over the weekend, about almost 1,000 lawyers were called to the bar, and it sparked the debate whether Ghana is training so many lawyers, which we don't need, and whether we could have invested that time and resources in training engineers. I mean, I'm not going to look at it from the perspective of engineers. I'm going to look at it right from the perspective of lawyers, because we are in a country which has a very low lawyer to citizen ratio. Looking at Ghana throughout our existence, we've trained just about 11,000 lawyers. But even as of now, we just have a little over 8,000 in active practice. And even when we say active practice, these are people who have renewed their licenses. A lot of people who have renewed their licenses are using it to work in private sector, public sector, but not actually within the legal profession and its service delivery. I think my comment with that is that we should be slow in condemning the fact that we are training more lawyers, but actually look for avenues where lawyers are needed. If you look at even the rules guiding how district assembly should be formed, we need about 3 legal brains to be in each district assembly. If you look at the Attorney General's office, they don't have enough lawyers on payroll to be able to ensure that there's proper delivery of justice from that perspective. So, I mean, my quick take is that we need more lawyers. We should be able to ensure that our lawyers are well positioned to ensure that our justice delivery is faster, looking at the backlog of even cases that we have at the courts. If we had more lawyers, more courts, we could move forward with cases faster. Now, a lot of people are losing trust in our justice delivery system because you just go to court with one simple matter and it will take you 3 years, 4 years, 5 years to resolve. So that's my quick thing.
All right, okay. Thank you very much. Dr. Asante, so let's go back to the Ahmed Swale case.
Yeah, I want to look at Ahmed Swale's case, but a little to add to what Kobe said. We need, if everybody will read law and at the end of the day come and help in the society, why not? Democracy believe in, any profession that you are doing, you do it well, and that the lawyers are very integral part of a democratic enterprise. At least it's for nothing at all. The knowledge, the education, and then their role is very, very significant. So the state will continue to produce lawyers, but they will find their bearings wherever they go. I move quickly to Ahmed Swale. It is unfortunate that up to date, we have not found those who committed the offense of killing the young man. I also have to accept that previous government have made efforts to handle this problem, but except that the process has been slow. I will urge this government to quicken the efforts to make sure that we get to the bottom of this, because the families of this young man we lost are still in pain. Friends, sympathizers, family members, and all that. Well, and the state is in pain. So it is my hope and prayer that the president, through his manifesto, promised that he will find, you go into this matter and help us to secure justice. I want to urge the president to continue on that trajectory so that this issue can be resolved according to how it ought to be. And at the end of the day, will bring back justice to the family which has lost the individual. It is unfortunate that we are here, but I know we shall win the fight.
Okay. To you, Mr. Adwoa, we understand that two of the people who are alleged to have really committed the murder, I mean, this young man was charged of abetting, right? But the two people who are alleged to have really committed the act themselves are on the run. Where does this leave the police if this guy has been discharged?
No, I think that investigations must continue. The fact that, especially in a case like this, which involves murder, which is of national interest, a lot of the times, those of us in the public are quick to put pressure on the police to conclude investigation facts, and rightly so, and put the perpetrators to book. However, in our quest to ensure that justice is delivered fast, we should, I think that, and just as the Attorney General has done, we should also be slow to put in innocent people, or better phrase, people or in instances where there's no sufficient evidence against someone, to put such a person on trial. Sometimes, especially when someone is innocent, putting someone on trial is not easy. It's something that can derail a lot of things for such a person. So especially, I followed a bit when this issue came up. The lawyer actually made a lot of comments about the kind of facts that were being discussed in courts, and the fact that I think there was a statement that he had been on the run for years, but they also said they even had evidence that this guy had been collaborating with the police on other investigative works. So if the Attorney General deems that indeed there's no evidence against such a person, I don't think that it is prudent for such a trial to continue. That will end up even being malicious. I'm not sure if we'll meet the standard for malicious prosecution, but that will end up being prosecution, which will even be a burden on the state press when you exactly know that you don't even have the necessary evidence to prosecute. So I think that investigations should continue. The agencies should be fast about it. They should dedicate a lot of resources to it, because this is an issue of high national interest. And every time it comes up, you could see how the public is looking for such a matter to end, especially involving journalists who serve this nation distinguishedly, and looking at the sensitivity of the kind of work that they do. We need such to also prevent or to also protect other journalists and give them that freedom to do their job. So investigations should continue, and hopefully the police will be able to find the two perpetrators who are on the run.
Well, I'll stay with you, especially because you're a lawyer. And if you read that story, it brings the attention to the fact that he said that the Attorney General actually advised. I recall when I read this doctrine by William Blackstone, who said that it's quite okay to actually have 10 guilty people walk free than one innocent person is sent to jail, I should say, or prison. With this said, if you also believe in this theory, where do we draw the line where we all must have confidence in the Attorney General that, well, they have studied the docket, they have looked at every evidence, and then they are advising that the matter be dropped? And especially, it looks like all the powers that the Constitution gives to our Attorney Generals. Is there a point where we must draw the line? Do you think that we should continue with this practice? What's the outlook like, the optics of it in the seeking for justice?
So justice is about justice, not optics. The fact is that the optics may not look good. As I said, this is a highly sensitive matter, a matter of high national importance. But imagine you not being involved in anything, or you being innocent and being brought before a court, being tried and being jailed. You know what also that does to the families of such people involved, and derailing everything, every progress, someone's career, someone's future ahead. So yes, as you may be aware, the criminal standard is very high. The criminal standard is beyond reasonable doubts, and there's a reason. So I don't think that we should compromise on it just because we want to look good, or just because we want the public to be happy. We should ensure that we have clear evidence against someone before we prosecute and before the court can also convict such a person. Because the fact that you don't have evidence, and the fact that you want the public, or you want things to look good in the public, you want to instill confidence alone, does not justify the incarceration of someone who is innocent.
Right. For Daniel Korante, he should just keep quiet and move on freely, or what? He can look back and wonder, my time has been wasted.
I mean, I think that that will be up to him. If he thinks that if he thinks that things didn't go well, if he thinks that he can prove elements of false imprisonments, malicious prosecution. I mean, depending on the facts of the case, I have not really studied to see whether such would be the case in this instance. But if he believes that his rights were infringed upon, the courts are there for redress, and I think that he should insist on it if indeed that standard is met, and he's been advised by a lawyer to do so.
Okay, well, Dr. Sasanti, let's take a trip into the Bawumia and the Kennedy Agyapong camp. You have seen that when we just did the headlines, Kojo, we had mentioned some 3 top individuals that, of course, if you're discussing the NPP, you surely will talk about them as well. The newspaper suggested that they are switching camps from the Bawumia camp to the Kennedy Agyapong camp. It actually continues to say that this is to re-strategize and also look forward to the unity that the party has been seeking. Is this really the case from your point of view?
Yeah, before I come in, just a little on the Swally's case, that as all of us have said, it is important that we don't imprison a wrong person, because we have seen stories in America and all of that. And what democracy doesn't support is that people who are not guilty should not be made guilty. And that is the law. So whoever the Attorney General believes that he should not be part of the matter, let us listen to Attorney General. He's a lawyer, and he will serve the interests of the society. That's it.
Doc, please give me a minute. Just a minute. I'll come back to you. Let me just go to the lawyer quickly, just for some education. Lawyer, so if the Attorney General advises that a case be dropped, does this suggest that the person is innocent, the person is not guilty?
I mean, once the Attorney General advises it and the matter is withdrawn, depending on the stage at which that was done, they may be at liberty to come back or not, depending on the stage at which it was done. And I mean, as of now, the Attorney General says they don't have enough evidence. I'm sure if later they have enough evidence, and depending on the stage, they may be able to come back.
Okay.
And also the process, whether it was a withdrawal or another process, right? There are a bit of technicalities involved. However, depending on what exactly was done, they may be at liberty to come back if they have the right evidence.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Doc, I'll come back to you. This switch,
right?
Do you call it a switch? Do you call it indeed some unity that the party is seeking?
I'm not sure. As Kweju rightly said, that, Madam Adwoa Safo has moved to Bawumia camp and all that. She's been there talking very strongly for him. And for me, there's nothing wrong about that. The switching, moving from one camp to another and all that, they are part of the political process. Is good. It helps the process. But what we want to find or want to know is that the campaign will organize in a very decorous manner, devoid of insults and attacks. And it will be driven by issues that confront the party foremost, and issues that confront the nation at large. We want people who have what it takes to be able to identify our problems and be able to deal with them head on. So that is how the campaign and all the processes must gear towards. We need that because time and again, we tend to just support people without listening to them and without posing questions to them as to what is it that they can do for their society, and for that matter, their state. So I want to see that. But I will also reiterate the point that any negative statement that will be used against any of the contestants, and the contestant happen to be the winner of the elections of next year, I'm afraid is going to be the raw materials for political campaign against the party. So they must be careful about that. And I want to also urge the party to put its foot down, muster courage, so to speak, to be able to deal with those who cross the line and put the party into a very difficult situation. Though they have come out with an ad hoc committee to look at how they can control, the processes and all that in terms of intemperate language. I know it's a tall order and it's in fact a difficult one for them to achieve because they've not been able to define what constitutes a wrongdoing in terms of the campaign. And for that matter, they don't have sanction for those people who breach those rules. So they are progressing on a very difficult note. But hey, they are playing their game. They know how to play it. But the contestants must be very, very, very careful. And then their party supporters. Sometimes even the leaders themselves will not speak ill about their contestants. But those who follow them, those who are on social media, insult, attacks, and all that. I tell people that the insult does not have any place in political science. We don't teach insult. We teach ideas. Politics, it's a contest of ideas and your records and all that. So if you don't have any, I'm afraid you should stay out of politics. After all, Aristotle reminds us that politics must be handled by those who are intellectually fit. If you can exercise your brain and come out with a process or an idea that will make society better, forget it. You are in a wrong camp.
But I mean, when you talk about the way the campaign should go about, the party recently set up a committee, right? That is to support, that is supposed to monitor how the campaigning, is done. Isn't that enough to try to streamline how people will not really indulge in too much of excesses?
It's a good proposal, but from where I sit, I can tell you without fear of contradiction that they will either not be able to do it, or even if they're going to be able to work satisfactorily, they are going to be hit by a lot of limitations. Because one, they've not been able to define what constitutes political wrong in this contest, and then the sanctions appropriate to those offenses. So on what basis are you going to judge people who have crossed any line? Is there any line that they've crossed? And if there is, what are the sanctions? So as to let people know the areas by which they can operate. We don't have that. So I'm sorry to say, they are going to look for a pin in an ocean, which is an impossible adventure.
Well, Doc, I've heard you a number of times ask for civility, just like Bawumia as well, saying that, there should be some level of civilness in this campaign. I hear you quite clear, and of course I support that for political campaigns, there should be some amount of civility. But does it look like we're asking for morality in politics? It's politics anyway. You want to take a trip back to the US. Trump is quite bold with his words, and yet he became president. And I'm asking this because you see this as a war front, and you will marshal every tool that will work in your favor. And I really wonder why, if you're on such war fronts, you'll be seeking for morality.
Yeah, we are not talking about morality per se, but morality is a function of politics. You cannot build any political society without moral underpinnings. Then what type of society is that? That said, all that we are also saying is that if we're looking at what we're talking about in this contest, we are saying that you can campaign, you can bring out issues, you can criticize, but it's not about insult. Because, look, you want to govern the state. Are you saying that you can only govern this state if you are able to insult and insult well? The answer is obviously no. But you can only govern this state when you have ideas, when you are able to identify our problems and you are able to help us to deal with that. So that should be the driving force behind any political campaign, because you can talk about any subject without insult. Otherwise, political science must have a chapter that look at insult and how it plays an important role in governance of society. And that cannot be found anywhere. And nobody will encourage that, because insult doesn't fix your road. Insult doesn't fix problems at the hospital. But ideas are the ones that drive the frontiers of democracy and make society a better place. So you can come out with even, something you have chanced upon in terms of corruption allegation and all that, but support it with evidence. Because if you also cross the lines of attacks and all that, the law is clear as to whether you have opportunity to smear somebody, slander somebody, abuse somebody within the legal framework. There are also remedies for that individual to seek. So we are saying that those who are in this business should be guided. They should conduct their affairs using the rules of the game. After all, there is no democracy anywhere without law. An important component of democracy is rule of law, which says that there are two components of it: equality before the law and due process. Nobody is above any law in this country, and that whatever decision you take or action must reflect with the laws of the land. Any other exercise beyond this, it must be considered an exercise against the rules of the game, and sanctions are appropriate to be meted out to those individuals.
Okay. Kojo, we're lucky to have Kennedy Agyapong's team member here. Well, Kobe, thankfully you're here. This switch, this Top Guns that the Inside is reporting that they have made a switch. Are you excited about it? Of course you'll be excited, because politics really and elections is about numbers. But do you go to bed shivering that, well, maybe I can also wake up and somebody in my camp would also switch?
I mean, that's politics. You wake up and people are always moving. They're always moving pieces. I won't want to comment on whether or not these two have indeed moved to our team. I think that both of them are lawyers, both ladies. I don't know if it was I know I saw Adwoa Safo and Naa Torshie. I think both of them are lawyers. They are people who can speak for themselves, and if indeed they've switched at the right opportunity, they'll make such a comment to that effect. However, as I said, I think that there are a lot of moving pieces. I mean, what I can confirm is that a lot of people are moving into support of Honorable Ken as of now. Some are quiet as of now by a matter of strategy. Others are coming out boldly. And even as it's on the tour, you see a lot more of these endorsements. I think that what this signifies is the fact that people are believing in his message. People are realizing that he represents the candidates who can win power for MPP in 2028, which is going to be a very difficult election. And yes, so basically that's it. People believe that Kennedy can win power for us. A lot of the big guns within the party who hitherto were, especially during the last election, due to the fact that there was a sort of establishment, and it's quite difficult going out openly against establishment. Now that establishment is broken, now people go back, especially the MPs, the others, they go back to their constituencies, they go to town, and people tell them that it's Kennedy that they believe can win power for them. And some of these people have started heeding to the cry of their constituents. They started listening to what the people on the ground are saying. And I mean, the political party is about winning power. So if indeed a party wants to win power, then it has to take its best foot forward to win power. All other things can be resolved, but the most important thing for MPP is to win power. Our anthem, we say, we shall win to save Ghana. If you don't win, how do we save Ghana? So that's what I believe. I think, as I said earlier,
as of this morning, your team, do you still, that's if you earlier believed, that the NPP machinery has been designed to favor Dr. Bawumia? This morning, as we speak, do you still feel that way?
I mean, there are issues that were of concern. All these issues that were of concern, we've spoken about. We are addressing in public, and I think that at the right time we'll come out to speak. It's not this is an idea party, and depending on strategy wise, it's not all issues that we want to run to the public to disclose. We try to resolve them internally first. Then, if depending on what the situation is, if the public has to know, the public would know. As of now, I think that there's an electoral process which we are following. Now we've done our balloting. At this time, one key thing that is going on is the validation of the albums. As you may know, we've added a few old executives to the albums. Yes, not everything is going as we wanted. I mean, that's politics. Nothing goes as smooth as you may want. But we are going through the validation process. There are some concerns. These concerns we have raised, these concerns we are trying to resolve, and at the appropriate time, we are going to let the public know.
Okay. No, you have a question.
Well, so you have said that the NPP's party slogan is "We shall win to save Ghana." What's really the message for?
It's part of our anthem that we shall win to save Ghana.
Right.
For anthem, we actually switch our anthem. If you are in power, we say we have won to save Ghana. If you are in opposition, we say we shall win to save Ghana.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So for the for Kennedy Agyapong, what's his message particularly?
Jobs. Kennedy wants to create jobs for Ghanaians. I finished the university in 2017 by virtue of the fact that sometimes I get opportunity to sit on TV, on radio. A lot of my colleagues sometimes believe that I may have the opportunity to help them. So a lot of these calls come to me, and you realize that there's a huge problem with unemployment in Ghana. There's a huge problem with people who finish school and they are not able to do anything meaningful or substantial. As a party MPP, we believe in private sector-led job creation. Honorable Kennedy has created thousands of jobs. He has been a private sector, even as much as he's been in parliament, he has been in the private sector job creation business for a very long time. He's created thousands of jobs. He understands the issues that affect the private sector, the issues or the hindrances or the barriers that people in the private sector face. And once given the opportunity, he will understand that policy, or he'll be able to get a good understanding of which policies will be able to help the private sector grow. So jobs. He talks about using the Asian miracle. Realize that in past, Asia had similar challenges of jobs and job creation, and their strategy was to help individuals, was to help corporations build and be able to create jobs. It's through this that companies like Hyundai, Samsung, and others who are now multinational, like global companies, came up. And such a model is what Honorable Kennedy wants to follow in developing Ghana. So jobs is the most important thing. I mean, and from our national security reports, from the evaluation of a lot of the issues that we face in Ghana, you track or you trace a lot of them, and it's jobs. We even talk about Galamsey. When we are evaluating our Galamsey issue, the most important problem, and I think that is one thing that sometimes governments think about when we talk about the political will. If we want to have a state of emergency or something, we look at the number of people who are going to be out of jobs, and sometimes the government is afraid that that is going to raise the unemployment rate. If there were excess of jobs, or if there were enough jobs to cater for all these people, such things would be easier.
Okay, all right.
Very strange, because in every campaign, you hear each political party say that, of course, we want to create jobs, I just really wonder why this is differentiated. Wow. But this is me thinking out loud. You don't hear me. Anyway. I hear Dr. Sasanti nodding his head. I see.
When I have opportunity, I'll respond to that.
Okay, Kojo, which one shall we move on to?
To the Ghanaian publisher.
Okay.
There's a story here that is exciting because we are beginning our Dear Mahama series today on Galamsey. And on the page 2, Tano North MC aiding Galamsey, that according to the royal family there. Now, the Tetretim royal family of Dwyer Nkwanta in the Tano North municipality has accused the MC of unlawfully issuing mining permit to Galamsey operators, leading to widespread environmental destruction and growing tension in the area. Now, according to a statement signed by Nana Asama Kofi Ofori-Edu, the family alleged that the MC and some sub-chiefs had authorized illegal mining activities without approval from the Minerals Commission and the EPA. Now, the family says the company identified as Sacrob Limited was granted operating licenses by Tano North Municipal Assembly to undertake mining operations on stool lands, a move they described as, quote, unlawful and irresponsible, unquote. Now, we've always been saying that the chiefs are the ones who can help deal with Galamsey. Dr. Santi, I want to start from you. This is obviously a good note to start, not so?
Yeah, we have said it time and again that if you want to deal with Galamsey, the first port of call is stakeholder engagement. That is critical. And stakeholders, once you bring them to the table, obviously you cannot do without the chiefs and opinion leaders within the communities. You need them. I have listened with rapt attention about all the talk about Galamsey, and one thing stands clearly missing and is conspicuously missing in this is the issue of stakeholders. People are talking about state of emergency. People are talking about, oh, the water, there are chemicals, even though the color can change and all that. You bring all those stakeholders, then we arrive at a solution and the way to execute that. That includes what? Traditional rulers, who are the owners of the land. They have said time and again that people come there with letters having been given leases to come and work on without their knowledge. I will urge you to take a trip or read around what the Chilean experience, the Brazilian experience. If you want to mine, you go to the people, the local people. They will sit down with you, plan how the mining ought to be done, people you employ and all that. Of course, those in the localities will be part of the process. And then when you are done, you go to government to look for another, approval in terms of other documentation. But most of the work is done by the local people. Why are we shying away from this? Because these are things that have worked for other states. Why can't we emulate and use it?
Dr. Sasanti, right? So, during the NDC's era, they tout a certain, shall I say, policy or one of the interventions, they called it the community mining. Today, we also have the responsible cooperative mining, which kind of mimics the community mining as well. And so some of these things that you have just mentioned as well, we have seen in the previous era and the current era. One thing really people have said is the political will. Which one are you asking enforcement on, the political will or the community mining? Or there's a different way you think that these community minings can be done?
It's none of the above. It is about what? Engaging the stakeholders. Because if you engage the stakeholders, issue of what? Enforcement will be part of that process. Issue of what? Chemicalization, if I can use that expression, is also part of it. Issue
you mean decemicalization?
Decemicalization, yeah. Decemicalization will be part of the process. Issue of what? Owners of the land and the contribution they can proffer and all that. So we have lost touch with that principle of what good governance, which says that in all problems, the best way out is what? Stakeholder. Engage them. And then we'll be there. Once you engage them, people will bring the issue you're talking about what the political will that political parties lack. It will also be in there, and they will show you how to go about it. So that forum, we need it, that the stakeholder will sit down, and then each of the participants will tell you the way forward. When we are able to do that, it will take care of what? Enforcement. It will take care of what? Decemicalization. It will take care of health issues and even how to save the ecosystem in general. So I think that there are models that we can learn from. The Chilean example, the Brazilian example, the Peru example, and the Latin American example, for that matter, is what we need to be able to deal with it. Otherwise, we'll just pay lip service to the problem and we'll continue to come back and say, we need state of emergency. Those who argue that way, I listen to them. But I ask myself, would that be the only panacea to this problem? State of emergency, and so what? What next? What about the chemicals in the water? Yes, the people are off. Now, the water has begun to have what? Change color, and we are seeing clean water. Is it potable? Is it fit for drinking? The chemists as stakeholders should come in.
But Doc, the proponent of a state of emergency, which of course started when this government was in opposition was the fact that if you declare a state of emergency, there are no mining, and then you can go ahead and implement the interventions that would save the river bodies. So,
implementation from where? It is when
it's part of the strategy.
Yeah, it is when you know from each of the stakeholders what is supposed to be done. Then you can go to the field boldly and implement. Today you are going to implement what? Stakeholder emergency. This is my first time of speaking about it. I'm not against it, neither am I for it. But I am for solution that works, right? You declare what is the next step, the next thing to do. Now you are coming to now talk to chemists as to how you deal with the pollutants in the water. Now you are going to talk to soil scientists, how to reclaim the soil, get them before you move to the field. That is the way to go. You also, because you are talking about something which is very interesting about political parties always promising us that given the North, they'll be able to do ABC. And when they come to power, they don't have even the courage to do what we're saying. The part of the reason is you and I. We have not put them together and demand what we need to know about their policies. Because some of them, it is just empty talk. They only come to government and the real issues confront them and they tell you that we didn't know. But we cannot be a society listening to those comments that we did not know. In politics, you know, and then you plan towards it. So I will urge for this MPP, contest, it will be proper if the party will look at this and organize debate so that you journalists will interrogate their issues and know what each policy, how they want to go about it, how to even fund it and all that.
Ahead of their presidential primaries?
Yes, let us see them in debate. The debate elicit a type of response that we want. Yeah, Ken is saying that he wants to create jobs. Beautiful idea. I have no doubt in my mind he knows how to create jobs. But we want education on that. How many jobs and how is he going to do it? All right. He brings fantastic ideas. That was the previous election. They said he will look at all the beaches and then put some ferry there and then people for recreational purposes. These are beautiful ideas. How are we going to fund that? Where is the money going to come from? And all that. These are the fine mathematics that we need in every policy that they come out with. But some of them, they will come and tell us that, yes, we'll do ABC. When they come back and said, looking at it, we have to look at it differently. You've seen NDC, caught in this web, where they were in opposition and said, declare state of emergency, declare. Today, the same apostles of state of emergency, they are telling you that, we need to, exhaust all the rules and then see if they do not work, then we'll move to another gear. So on what basis were they talking? You realize that it was not founded on research and all that. If we are able to put them in debate, all these things can be interrogated to the fine details and we'll get the best for society.
But must that not be after they've elected their flag bearer? And we know that this person is going to contest, say, the flag bearer of the NDC, the CPP, and that's where you can really get the sort of workable ideas that you would get, because you know that any of them can become the leader of this country.
So are you saying that now, because they have not elected them, we should sit down for them to throw anything at us?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you really want to get to the bottom of the fight of this Galamsey, and I've seen Galamsey and what it can do, I'm saying that it just goes beyond putting people who are fighting to be flag bearer of a political party and wanting to hear what they will do when it comes to Galamsey. The best way, I think, should be when they've elected their flag bearer to go against other flag bearers, not so.
A million-mile journey begins with a step. This is the process. One of them will emerge as a flag bearer. So that conclusion is already out there. We want to know now that, look, these are our problems, not necessarily Galamsey, but other problems. Because yes, this type of campaign, you are doing a double-pronged type of campaign. That one relates to the party and then one relates to the state, right? So we want to test them on both fronts and see that through public debate, that this person that was going around that people are praising and yearning for, he doesn't have what it takes. Let us subject them to this strict proof and you see who will be able to lead the party and all that. I urge the party to bring this thing And it's interesting when people are in contest and they are debating about the issues and all that. That one would take away their problem of insult and attacks, and all the ideas will reign, but not insult. So I'll urge the party. It's a humble proposal. The party can take it or leave it.
Copy. It will be a good time to allow you to respond to the jobs matter. And here's why I asked that question. Well, you of course, it's experimented that there's potent results that Kennedy has created jobs. And I'm very reminded of the Trump story, from a businessman to president. That is one out of the many people who have become presidents in the history of this world that I know. But I'm also reminded of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. Why won't he stay a private person and then create jobs? I ask again because when you become president, yes, you have the final decision, but it becomes more bureaucratic than if you're a private person creating jobs, starting your own business. And so why wouldn't he just stay businessman, create more jobs?
Okay, so thank you. And as you initially mentioned, that's one of the biggest challenges. One of the issues that keep recurring is job creation. Everybody says they want to create jobs. Now, it keeps recurring because it's still an issue that is still very frontal because people don't have jobs, and everybody will have to come up with how they want to create jobs. So if there's a businessman who has created about 8,000 jobs, who believes that the way to go, and especially matching what the party's ideology is, even what international organizations tell us, that the way to go is helping other people to be like him, so also to be able to create jobs, to have that multiply effect, to take over or to clear that unemployment backlog. I think that it's a good thing. As to him staying in government, staying in private business or not, he is one individual. He wants to create 50 Kennedy Agyapongs. He wants to create 1,000 Kennedy Agyapongs. He, on his own, may not be able to create as many jobs too. If he is not president, what is the policy that is going to support him? His vision is not to be president and create jobs on his own, but his vision is to create president, create that conducive environment, put in place the right policies that will help others to be able to create jobs. So if he decides to stay in private practice and no one is able to take up the vision like he wants to take up, then that's proper environment that will help him to create the jobs may not even be there. Yes, now, even through the challenges that he faces, he just has about 8,000. Maybe if he had the right support, he would have created 30,000. So if he decides to stay on his own, maybe that right support may never come. I'll give an example. Kennedy has a steel factory at Tema, worth over 100 million, lying idle. That steel factory, one staff operation, can employ 1,100 people. Why? The steel factory is not working because of electricity supply. Government, as of now, and through what we realize, does not have even a proper policy to support such large-scale industries who have such high demand for electricity. With the right policies, with the right arrangements, if those arrangements had been put in place, this factory would have already been in operation. God knows when, because this factory has been ready for about a year now and it's still not creating jobs. God knows when government will be able to put in place the right structures to support such an industry. So
that's interesting, Kobe, because there are many businessmen here who would have loved that government to do something that will aid their businesses. So you're saying that it's not Kennedy just trying to climb to the highest hierarchy of the Maslow's theory, self-actualization? Are you sure you're certain that is not it?
No, exactly what I'm trying to tell you is the ability to get a bigger opportunity to create jobs. He has done it as a private man. And as I said, his vision is about helping other private people to also create jobs. As to whether there's the self-actualization bit, I mean, that one, every individual has what motivates him. If his self-actualization is to ensure that unemployment is cleared in the country, I think that we both benefit.
Well, could you...
I would like to comment briefly on the stakeholder issue.
Of course.
In relation to the chief, yes. I think that is commendable that the traditional authorities have started reporting. I really agree with Doc that we should be able to engage stakeholders. Sometimes you may put in place all the technical people, be at a certain perspective, and think that you know it all. there's one common example that I teach my students when I'm talking about stakeholders. There was this company which wanted to donate a borehole to a village. They went in with all the technical people, dug the borehole which nobody used because this borehole was on an ancient graveyard. They didn't consult the people because they thought all the matrices were right. And nobody from such a village with a lot of superstition will drink water from an ancient graveyard. So without the proper stakeholder consultation, you may think you are doing everything right, but you're losing on a lot. In these villages, these chiefs are the ones who are on the ground. They know the lands. They know where people are. People go to these chiefs. Sometimes they go and present fictitious documents, which looks like a lease. If there is no proper engagement with them.
All right. We just lost him. Oh, Kojo, I think. But as
I can't.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're actually wrapping up the segment, though.
Okay. Yeah. So just as I'm saying, even if there's no proper engagement, the chief may not even know the difference between what a mining lease is or even the categories. Someone presents any document to them and they start working. By the time NIMOS comes in, the damage will have been done. So that proper engagement with the stakeholders is very important. And without that, we may not be able to achieve what we want to achieve.
Right. Thank you so much, Kobe Amwa. He's lawyer and member of Kennedy Agyapong communications team. Dr. Asante, thank you so much. I don't know if I have 30 seconds, and then if you can promise me you can do 30 seconds, then I'd have you take the final say. This is how we'll end our breakfast on the news review. Doc.
Yes. We have seen it throughout the MPP campaign that now they want to, get things right. It is my hope and prayer that what they've promised, they will be able to do. More often than not, they are not able to muster courage and deal with people who breach any of their rules. Once they lose sight of that, I'm afraid, when the campaign gets heated, things that will come out, they will not be able to control. But I know, as one of the strong political parties in this country, for that matter, a dominant political party, one of the dominant political parties, they should be able to have what it takes to be able to ensure that the campaign that they've set in motion will get to its logical conclusion without an incident.
Right. Thank you so much.
Since we are talking about MPP discipline, maybe some 20 seconds.
Okay, if you can promise you stay with it 20 seconds, please shoot.
Okay, let's make it 30. Yes, so I think that Kennedy, just in relation to discipline and Kennedy's rep being here, I think that Kennedy has been very strict with his camp in relation to ensuring that there is discipline within the camp. And he has warned the members of his camp and always try to crack their whip. And there's not just talk. I mean, sometimes people come and say, we want unity, but there are people who go around and do otherwise. But Kennedy has shown, there was a time where someone even on his private network, it's openly insulted Dr. Bawumia, and this person was given the sack because Kennedy does not believe in the politics of insult. He believes that politics is a contest of ideas, and we should be able to debate our ideas out to the people, and the people make a decision based on that. As to whether or not Kennedy we would debate, I think that it's something that we may be open to, even though the disclaimer here is that we have not yet discussed with the team, but we will not miss any opportunity to talk about our issues, what we want to do for the MPP people, and what we want to do for the people of Ghana.
Right. Thank you so much, Kobe Amwa, lawyer and member of Kennedy Agyapong communications team. You're watching the AM show. Kojo, yeah, this is how we wrap up the news review. And remember that love letter that we have for the president. Of course, today, the postmaster, we shall deliver the first part of that love letter, dear Mahama. But stay with us. We'll be back with that shortly. Welcome back to the show. You're watching the AM show. Now, imagine being a teenage girl forced to choose between using filthy, dark, foul, smelly pond water during your period or skipping school entirely. That's the grim reality for girls at Kwesi Chikrom, a basic school in the Agona East District of the Central Region. For 2 months now, they've lived without clean water after the Kwenyako Head Works was shut down due to illegal mining. In our latest series, Dear Mahama, Stop Galamsey, We'll tell you how illegal mining is robbing young girls of their dignity, health, and hope.
So let's talk about things we can do to conserve our water bodies. Yes, Angel.
We should avoid illegal mining.
Handsome lesson. Handsome lesson. To play. Very good.
In this classroom at Kwesi Chukrum Junior High School, lessons on clean water and hygiene are in full swing.
When you destroy our water bodies, now we know that we don't have even access to water. All our water bodies are being destroyed.
For girls like Adwoa, a Form 3 pupil, menstruation turns school days into a struggle with fear, discomfort, and no clean water.
It's water crisis. We are not able to get water for our own human resources. And fetching from the offer is a bit challenging, especially using to cook, washing, and bathing. And like I am a girl, and using this water when I'm menstruating is a bit difficult for me. But I have to adapt to it because of the crisis here. When there's no water, it's actually a bit challenging. So we adapt to it, but when you get enough water, you have to use it fast for us not getting all those infections and all those bacteria into us. At times, I can't use water because of how the water is, because the water has to be boiled and all those stuffs. So when the water is not boiled and we don't usually use gas here, we use firewood, and I don't have time to boil it, so I have to use the water and come to school early.
Ghana has made strides in girl child education. Enrollment has risen. More girls are staying in school, and conversations around menstrual hygiene have grown louder. But here in Kwesi Chukrum, a water crisis fueled by illegal mining threatens to erode those gains. For months now, taps have run dry following shutdown of the Kwenyako headworks, unable to treat raw water from the heavily polluted Ayensu River. The absence of clean water strips young girls of their dignity and privacy. Inside the classroom, menstruation is silent, but its weight is heavy.
Our menstrual cycle health only perform because of insulin, and I need gal mining insulin, so I am a distraction. We need water to clean our genital parts, to wash so that we can be clean, because we can't just change and use another sanitary pad. It affects us. It can give us infections and all those things.
The Offa Pond is their only source of water. Dirty, murky, and smelling. For girls, this is where menstruation hygiene begins and ends. Some girls simply stay away from school during their period. Others, like Adwoa, endure the discomfort, attending class but unable to focus.
I'm a Form 3 student, and I'm a pair. Yeah, time indoors, so I have to.
Robert Yankee is the science teacher here. He watches over these pupils and sees how the water situation steals both their time and their health.
Assuming there's no water, and then the child or this girl child have or experiences her menses, how will she even clean herself without having access to potable water? Do you want the girl child to use this contaminated water to clean her genital part? It means that she'll be introduced or she'll be prone to more infections.
Nana Kwesi Twi, the fourth, is the chief of Kwesi Chukrum. He sees the daily toll the water crisis takes on his community, and especially its children.
After school, na ewo krom hananga sanso kwala ne yenso no. Tedu baby cry say break nkwala no. Na obi akofie kwasensu, na ode bansa na oye bia no. Fact, amama aha ye papa. A kronanga said this problem we face pa ensu sem aha o man kese pa.
I will need the government to help us with the illegal mining water issue and to put a stop to illegal mining. And we can come to school without being stressed and all those stuff.
The Kwenyakun Headworks, once the lifeline for this community, shut down after turbidity levels hit almost 95,000. Safe levels are below 50. President John Dramani Mahama is unconvinced to declare a state of emergency on mining, on water bodies and forest reserves.
I've been reluctant to implement a state of emergency in the Galamsey fight because we've not exhausted the powers we even have without a state of emergency.
Here in Kwesichukrom, girls like Adwoa live in a constant state of emergency. They are victims of rivers poisoned by illegal mining. If this is not an emergency, Mr. President, what is it?
Well, yeah, there you have it, the stark reality. Now, Parkway C. Shand of Media Relations at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources joins us here. And Kojo would also be joined by a guest as well via Zoom. But let me engage Parkway C. first. Parkway C, you have seen the first part of our love letter to the President.
Exactly.
Okay. How do you feel about it?
The issues raised are valid issues indeed. To see that young girls are obviously going through a lot because of the impact of illegal mining is something that any logical person should be able to sympathize with. Indeed, I do as well. And if you look at the ravages of illegal mining at large, it even extends beyond these young girls who have to go through a lot of frustration during their monthly cycle. The good news, however, is that these developments or sins of this nature have the attention of government, and there are programs and initiatives to curb it. And so, yes, the results may not be immediate and instantaneous, but we'll certainly get there. So let me keep watching.
Did you think that it will get to this particular level, that it would affect the girl child directly like that?
Of course. I mean, this level is not new. It has always been the case. It is not a case that we are coming here because of now. I mean, if you analyze the impact of illegal mining across board, the impact on school children I mean, girls of school-going age, even boys alike, women, farmers, everybody has been affected over the period, especially over the last 8 years where the menace had particularly deepened. And so this is not new, but we appreciate that it's a germane concern. So the other conversation, which perhaps is more important, is that what is government doing to address the issue? And that is what I'm sure I'm here for, really.
Oh, good. I like that you're here for that. Stay with me. Let me go on Zoom. We're joined by Adwoa Safo. She's Africa President, International Federation of Women Lawyers. And as well, we're joined by Bright Appear, Executive Director, Child Right International. Adwoa, I'll come to you. You've seen the first part of this, our love letter to the President, and it affects the young girl or the girl child directly. What's your first observation?
I think we are not surprised. And it's not only the girl child, it's also the woman and the men also in the community. But for the girl child, it's more troubling because they have to deal with this whilst in school. And we know that in these areas, they are already handicapped with very little resources. You know, competing with schools in Accra here is not easy. Then now you have to also consider your health and mental hygiene, and even your very lively, your very survival, living in the Galamsey area. And I don't think it's fair for the girl child in those communities to be going through this. And that's why we need the government to really take a second look at this Galamsey issue, especially on how it affects women and girls. When we very well know that most places outside the urban areas, it's the girl's responsibility to go and fetch water. and they have to go through this, I don't even know whether to call it dirty or, I mean, it's just toxic, this toxic water on a daily basis. So even if you are not going through your mental period, you are exposing yourself so much to these hazards. And only God knows how it's going to affect our fertility in the next few years, how it will affect our population, because clearly fertility issues would automatically affect population issues. And I don't know if there's been any talk about that. I've not heard much on it. And I really hope that we hear something from the Ghana Health Service, the Ministry of Health, on direction on how to manage the situation. We are in already, it's a crisis situation. Just as the COVID time, we had direction on how to go about things. I think this is even more important or more critical than the COVID time. We need to know how to manage ourselves. Even in Accra, the bottled water we are drinking and the sachet water we are drinking, we've heard that it's already contaminated. How much more those who are directly taking water from these water bodies, which are heavily polluted with all these heavy metals? So these are my initial issues. Of course, the right to water is a fundamental human right. The right to water is a fundamental human right, and it's the states that is responsible for that. And clearly, the state is failing us here. And we are calling on the states to look at the situation holistically. We have a right, a fundamental human right to safe and portable water. The girls have a right to have safe mental hygiene. And the safe water comes with sanitation, and mental health hygiene and all that comes under this issue. So we are really asking government and the necessary state agencies that have responsibilities in these areas to give us the necessary direction. Of course, the criminal arrests and the prosecutions are all good. But beyond that, we are still living with this existential issue of Galamsey affecting all of us, more so the people we are seeing in this video. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Adwoa, because you definitely hit the nail right on the head when you said that we're not talking about the health effect directly on women. We've talked about cancers very much, especially after the Pure Earth research came out, but it's important that you have drawn our attention. But you also talked about human rights, and so we've got Bright Appiah here from Child's Rights. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. What will be your initial reaction to this first part of our letter?
Well, watching it, at least I got the privilege of watching the video. So for me, it's just a confirmation of what is on the ground. And the happenings are not far from what we talked about over the years. And the key thing for me that I picked from this particular documentary has to do with the fact that in all aspects, especially when it comes to the right of the girl child or the right of a child, the major ones are being abused. You pick the right to health, which is critical in promoting the welfare of children. The right to protection is one of the critical rights that the state require that we give to children. And then also the right to education. So clearly you will see that there are major pillars of rights that have been abused in terms of how children need to be cared for in such environment, and it's also goes to confirm the research that we have also conducted, and the details of it are showing clearly in the video. And for me, it should send a signal to us for us to take certain pragmatic steps to deal with this issue. Because one thing about children is that you don't immediately see the effect on them. It will take almost about 5, 15, 10 years to be able to identify the effect. By that time, it will be a bit late for the state to reverse that. And even if the state want to reverse it under our rehabilitation and maintenance program, then it means that the state is going to spend a lot of money to be able to do that. Because to be able to subject a child to rehabilitation program, it is millions of dollars for you to even be able to rehabilitate a particular child, especially where the gravity of the issue is so much that it has become a norm in a particular society. So clearly, it's not an area that we should take for granted. It's not an area that we should just play with, because already we all know that as a country, our social safety net is weak. For that matter, we don't want a situation where we pack a lot of issues in our social safety net. So the best option for us as a country is to stand at the entry point of our social safety net to deal with all the issues, so that in event where we still have some issues in our social safety net, it will be issues that as a country we can manage. So for me, these are issues that we should be looking at as a country and take steps to be able to deal with it.
How is government failing these children without being able to really bring this Galamsey under control?
Well, yes, of course. There's nothing too hard for the state to do, because, in fact, when you look at all our legislations, the main pillar behind legislations and programs and implementation has to do with the state. And so the state's attitude towards it is crucial. That is why I strongly believe that some of these documentaries, researchers must speak to the issues on the ground, so that when the politicians are taking decisions, they'll be well informed and take the right decisions. Because if you'd have a situation where the children are going through a lot. So, for instance, you look at you look at the education sector. If you look at the mining area and you compare it to the non-mining areas, the enrollment rate is so high in non-mining areas compared to enrollment rate in the mining areas, to the extent that the state, on the average, the state enrollment rate is above 90%. But when you go to the mining areas, you get as low as 60%. So clearly, you cannot take it for granted. And the dropout rate is so sharp that you see a child in the lower primary, immediately the child gets to upper primary, about 45% of them are drop out of school. And when you try to find out their whereabouts, you realize that they are engaging all kinds of activities in the mining sector. You look at the economic aspect, a lot of children have become breadwinners in their homes because they are more or less taking care of their grandparents and then even their mothers. And gradually, the society is accepting the fact that a boy at the age of 16 years, 15 years, should be a breadwinner. And the implication is that in the near future, we're going to lose the productivity of this particular child, because on averagely, you expect the productivity of a person from 25 up to 35 to 40 years. So if they start very early, then it means that before they get to 25 or 30, we've lost their productivity, and they more or less will become a burden to the state. So you don't train children in a manner that will become premature in handling certain responsibilities. And when they do that, they lose certain elements that would help them to be more responsible in society. So when you look at it from that angle, as a country, you cannot just say that you just want to just look on and begin to define certain reasons, to give reasons why this issue cannot be solved. So we have to paint the picture clearly for the state to know. You look at the health sector, it's even worse. And I think that even the documentary is just giving a bit of it, because you look at the conditions of children. When you go to the mining areas, STDs among children is so high,
okay,
and it's an issue that you have to deal with. When respiratory conditions in mining areas among children is very high. So these are things that you cannot just subject your children to this kind of cruelty and think that we can just have certain definitions and the reasons why we cannot deal with this particular matter. let's look at it from that perspective. And if you want a future of our children to be in a position that we expect it to be, then we need to take certain steps to deal with this issue. We are at a level where we don't need more explanation apart from what will salvage the issue, what will put our children in a certain condition, and so that we will get the profit, the investment that we are making. Because most of our social investment in this country, about 80% is targeting children. So if the very investment that you are making, the people are rather subjecting them to this kind of thing, that will derail the investment that you are making in them, then what is the essence of engaging in that kind of investment? So the state has an interest in the development of children. That is why it's investing so much in the development of children. So if I'm a parent and I'm investing in my child, I should also take every step to be able to protect my child so that nobody will take advantage of my child or my investment will not go waste. And it's the same attitude that the state might develop when people are doing certain things that will derail the very investment that the state is making. And if you're able to look at it from that angle, as a country, we should be able to take a pragmatic step to deal with it and deal with it the way it's supposed to be dealt with.
Okay. We'll come into the studio, and of course, Fakwesi, you're here. I see that you're itching. You have a lot to say.
Yeah, I have so much to say. Yeah.
Which one are you responding to first? Is there anything to respond, counter, argue, debate over it?
Really, it's about the comment earlier about the failure of the states. I think we should not be in a hurry to make those definitive pronouncements, because in all of this Galamsey conversation, there's only one thing I keep saying, that we need to look at where we have come from and then where we have gotten to now. It's very important to the conversation, because if we don't do that, then it would appear as if the current government of the day is sleeping on the job or is not staying on the deliverables. Between the last 8 years, and I have had cause to reiterate this repeatedly on this particular platform, that illegal mining did not begin today. We can all agree. It's an age-old, menace that has been with us. But over the last 8 years in particular, and this is not even to politicize the issue, but the background is very important. Over the last 8 years, it has deepened particularly. So if it has deepened and we are having a conversation on it, the context should be that what has been the depth of the devastation and how is the government of the day now rolling out measures to deliver, as it were, redeem all of us from the depths that we have sunk ourselves in. When we do that, it provides a very good context for the conversation, in the sense that, okay, so now we can measure directly what government is doing in proportion to the damage that we have seen. The precursor videos that have gone around regarding this particular series, for example, I've watched virtually all of them. And if you look at all of them, you can fit it into the context of the past 8 years. So when anybody then says that there is a certain failure of the state, referring to the current government, my initial reaction would be that, okay, when did the government of the day, come into play for it to have failed already? Okay, that appears slightly.
If the person says failure of the state, doesn't it go beyond a certain
administration? No, in this particular sense, I think if you listen to the rest of the comments, you realize that it is focused on not just the entirety of the state as a machinery, but the government of the day. That is what I'm responding to. Unless, of course, what's her name? The president of the International Federation of Women Lawyers. Unless, of course, she has a different opinion.
But is it even wrong for her to say that the state has failed?
Absolutely wrong. Because maybe we should look at the data. You have 5,500 hectares of land over the last 8 years. That is the number of land reserves or forest reserves that we have lost to illegal mining. If you want to see the picture clearly, let's imagine that Accra Sports Stadium. We are talking about 7,500 of that. Okay, 7,500 football pitches. So if we are using the Accra Sports Stadium, for example, that is the number of forest reserves that have been destroyed by illegal mining just over the period of the last 8 years. Okay, now if that is the number you are dealing with, clearly there is no government, even if the NDC did not win the last election, and then it was still the NPP that won, the new president who would have been sworn in would still not have been able, as of now, to deal with that level of devastation. So if you begin to infer failure immediately, then it becomes questionable. Because then you are asking...
Let me attempt to explain what she said, because she's here, and my understanding of what she said.
Perhaps you should do that so that I'm able to respond to her.
Oh, because I also understood her.
I would like to do that, please.
Perfect. In fact, thank you. But
I would like to do that.
Also to draw, I'll come to you, Adwoa, maybe I shouldn't say explain, maybe to draw your attention. For example, 2 days ago, I was on the news telling the people of Ghana that the Ghana Health Service, a sector of it that oversees eyesight, says that 16,500 people are nearly blind because of what cataract. Right. That is from the Ghana Health Service. Right. Now, the Pure Earth research didn't do that research in vacuum. It did it together with EPA.
Yeah.
Okay. This tells me, Adwoa is attempting to say that perhaps we should draw people's attention to the impact, the effect of it, fertility, population, so that we're not picking and choosing, cherry picking some of the things that we're letting people understand. That's the role of government. But before that, Adwoa is
I was the first person who spoke. And when I spoke, I acknowledged the fact that all the ravages that we are projecting are fair enough. Indeed, we also concede. I am just saying that the problem is when we now begin to make comments that speak to failure. Again, that is my only concern. Perhaps she may have to clarify, because if it's about the government of the day, that certainly would be extremely unfair. Maybe it's not.
Note my points now, because I want you to respond to that as well.
I will.
Adwoa, please proceed.
Yes. So I didn't mention any government. Yeah. And I began by saying that I'm not surprised at where we are, knowing that this has been ongoing for quite a while. So the video wasn't surprising. That indicates that it's been the responsibility of successive governments to do something about the situation before we got to the stage. The fact that we are watching this video, maybe my friend in the studio doesn't see it as failure, but I think there's something fundamentally wrong here. A child shouldn't go through this. A child shouldn't be on TV telling the states that it needs help.
Yeah,
there is something fundamentally wrong here. If failure is too harsh a word, maybe you can supply me with another word.
No, actually,
fundamentally
I also agree that there's something fundamentally wrong. My point of departure, however, was the fact that it is not something that should be limited to the current government, given the fact that
I never said so.
Exactly, and you have clarified.
Never. So I wouldn't even say so. It wouldn't be
exactly.
fair
Now that she has clarified, maybe we should be able to, if it's okay, harvest their views on the progress so far.
No, but you.
But now the government has the responsibility to do this.
Exactly. That's the point.
So since we all agree that the government of the day has the responsibility, may you also tell us what you have seen the government do, perhaps your impression so far? Is that not a fair question?
No. As though you want some mollycoddles as a government.
No, not at all.
Because if you...
No, she's saying that from time immemorial, the state has collectively failed, right? But right now, there's a new government that has been installed. Does she hold the same view that the new government is towing that hypocrisy? That is what I...
hypocrisy.
Because it is feedback. So
tell me how... The current government.
Could you?
No, all government. All government.
No, I'm not asking. I'm not asking a question at all. I'm only interested. No, I'm treating it as a feedback session.
When the current government was assuming power,
right?
One of the issues that was major on the minds of every Ghanaian had to do with Galamsey.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So everybody was looking up to the new government coming in to help deal with the matter.
Absolutely.
Now, when these people see their water turbidity levels increasing, such that today we have 2 water plants, Kwenyako and the one in Brim, shut down. Right. Of course, you don't expect them to come and say, "Oh, the current government is doing something." They will demand that you end the trouble they are going through.
Exactly.
So when people say, for example, if they say the state has failed, that shouldn't be the issue. The issue is about how are you getting safe water for the people in Kwenyako, for example.
The point is that you can share your reservations about the progress so far by calling for more action. When you land on the verdict of failure, you have effectively written off any possibilities of redemption.
Oh, I didn't say that.
No, we're not
I didn't say that.
Yeah, that's for what you per se.
I acknowledge that a lot of work has been done in the criminal justice sector. I acknowledge that.
Thank you. That acknowledgement is very important.
But I said that
because
the criminal
you know why they. I'm not even forcing it out of here, but you know why this acknowledgement.
You're very interested in the acknowledgement.
No, I'm not interested in the acknowledgement. I'm saying that if we are going to drive a very healthy conversation, we should look at where we have come from and then where we are going, only to create the balance.
Where we have come from.
We've gone past it.
No, but let's even provide him some. Where we have come from, MFA, is that we had the Kwenyako, the Bream River, the Bream, the one around Kwenyako area. The NTU was 34,000 something in September 2024. It's grown to 94,000. That's where we've come from.
And this had occurred over an 8-year period where we had excavators coming into the country without any regulatory oversight.
I am saying
now this is where we have.
I am saying that in 2024 it was 34,000.
Exactly,
it is 94,000.
But you see, we should be interested in how we got there. It was because the excavators that was in that community were all not regulated. Now we have come into a dispensation where every excavator that comes into the country is geo-fenced and geo-tracked. And so as I'm speaking to you, we have over 1,200 that currently are being monitored in the control room of the Minerals Commission, which means if we are able to stop the bleeding through the interventions that government is rolling, we won't have this record again. This is the kind of...
But that's not new.
No, it's new.
No,
absolutely new.
I was in the Minerals Commission conference room, the operational room, where we were being taken through how they are monitoring excavators. Moving from, and they were even... There's a name they called it, where they could even stop an excavator that has moved out of its jurisdiction. 2024.
No, that
I was in the middle. Oh,
that could not have.
So you're saying I'm alive?
I'm saying
that was in the Minerals Commission
from the previous government.
That could not have been.
Granted that this was true. That's even worse on the previous government.
Yes, but I'm saying that was there.
Track excavators.
The tracking.
Fair enough.
The tracking of excavators is a
He's a journalist. He said this.
I'm saying that they were that tracking was there. Unless of course the Minerals Commission comes here today and say that was not.
I'm saying it's a novelty.
Exactly. For some time now, where the previous government says that it's not entirely novel, that it started somehow. Granted, even if it did start, I'm not confirming or denying this. It is even worse on the previous government in the fight against Galamsey, that you could track excavators, but the Kwenyako, for example, water plant still had stability rising to this level.
So the previous government would have to speak. So the previous government will have to speak to it. I mean, right now you are questioning the efforts of the previous government in that particular respect.
Yes.
So they would have to speak to why the assets were rolled out
and there has been a wholesale of moving away from that previous government. The bus is stopping with you now. And that's why you're here.
Having stopped with us, what have we done so far? Okay, and I would quickly run into the debate about the state of emergency, because I know as we progress it will definitely come. Prior to the 2024 election, it was the biggest ticket item that everyone was talking about, that government had to declare a state of emergency. Why was that declaration rife? But before I even answer that question, I think we can all agree around this table. In 2017, was there a call for the declaration of a state of emergency? No.
Because there was a ban.
There was no call like that. 19, no. 2020, no. 2021, no. 22, no. 23, no. It was in the dying embers of 2024. I think this answers the question. The call came in the closing stages of 2024 because from the beginning, we all saw that the government of the day were rolling out some interventions. But after the 8-year period, when we came to 2024, it was obvious that all the efforts were not giving results. That is why we said, okay, then let's now come to the option of last resort. That is the declaration of a state of emergency. Basically, the point I want to make is that that declaration is not an immediate option that you would embrace all of a sudden. That is why we were not even doing it in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We only did it in 2024. So now when we come...
Because the state of emergency conversation gets all emotional and all. I am. You know why? Because I'm interested in the girl who has her period today and will have it tomorrow, and we need water to shower, menstrual hygiene. You see the state of emergency and all of that. Even if you declared it today, it will not stop the girl from using that water today.
I'm glad you agree.
And I'm interested in
The interim today.
I'm
today.
good. So
tomorrow.
I'm
what
glad.
is she using to buy?
I'm very good. You can see she has conceded that the state of emergency.
No. Because I'm not the one that said you should declare or you shouldn't declare. What I'm saying is that let's deal with the matter at hand first.
Which is?
I'm talking about a girl. I just told you a story.
Exactly.
State of emergency is what we've been talking about. But I'm here.
But we agree to not immediately change that circumstances. Let's progress.
Did you not know this when you promised it in your campaign?
No, nobody promised it in the campaign.
You didn't?
It is not on record. Nobody. Okay. Of course, there were frontline activists of the party who were calling for it, but it was not the officially stated position of the NDC. But I think we can even move away from there because the president has said that as and when that relevance comes to the table, he will go ahead.
So you're not saying that in doing campaigning we should only listen to what the president says.
But who again should we listen to?
Oh,
the official.
The official.
If
anything I say has the weight and the blessing of the minister, okay, that we can agree. But during campaign, you have how many people belonging to the NDC? Everybody.
No, this is not anybody. When you have top-ranking members,
but who do not hold sanctioned and official
party.
Let's
deal with the issues one after the other. On this table this morning, IFWA has just drawn your attention to the fact that we always talk about the challenges that this illegal mining will bring to us, for example, the cancers.
Right.
But we don't talk about the other stuff. Today, we have just drawn your attention to the fact that fertility and all of that. Okay. And I'm saying that in the interim, what does this change your plan? Does it alter your plan in the fight against Galamsey? And whilst you're at it, I'm saying that Akosua is going to bleed tomorrow. Which water should she use? For example, in the Kwenyako, I spoke to the Central Regional Minister on the news 2 days ago, and it says that partially it's been reopened, partially, and that they're appealing to the residents to manage the water. That is giving us some progress.
Right.
Earlier as well, he had done some donations of reservoirs for them to be able to have access to potable, good water or healthy water. And I'm asking that girl in the Central Region, that's all I'm asking you.
So I don't know what exactly to respond to.
No, because you brought in the state of emergency.
Because you have actually outlined the intervention that government has deployed in that particular area so far to hold and contain the situation until such a time that the water now returns to a pristine state. So, given that, I'm curious. In fact, for all areas, I mean, we've seen these reports. Just today is Tuesday.
Today is Wednesday.
Last week, we were having a meeting with one of the directors of the Water Resource Commission, and there is a whole program that is going to be deployed to enhance the BDT. But in the meantime, where the locals are grossly affected, of course, there's going to be stopgap measures for water distribution and all of that. Those things are being done.
That's my area.
When is that starting?
But if the deployment will require some financial consideration. So, in fact, the reality is that all the measures that government is rolling out, they are all very, very cost intensive. For example, the placement of permanent military personnel across all the water reserves and then, the water bodies and the forest reserves, it has some financial implications. So as and when the resources come in, the policies would be rolled out in that particular respect. But conversations like this, the trickiness is that I begin to wonder. Now, even if I were to take myself out of the hat I'm wearing as spokesperson for the ministry, I would ask, this is the obvious question I'll ask myself as a Ghanaian. Even if I were not in this role, the water treatment on all the polluted water bodies that is making life difficult for our young girls, are we going to get them clean within the end of this year?
Then we should also ask you, if when you came into power in January, right, and you had said that we should cease mining, we're going to attack these river bodies the way, at least 8 months would have seen some changes.
No, that is not true.
That's what is
that
not
is
true?
Not true because mining.
You are saying I'm coming. Hold on.
But SKB, was there a ban on mining? No, there was
yes.
a ban. So why, the time we had a ban on mining, somewhere in 2017.
Enforcement.
Did
enforcement?
It does
also one. No, I'm saying enforcement is also one.
But I didn't deal with the situation.
But you recently, I've seen government functionaries celebrating the river body in Nzema area. Yeah. What's the name?
Zule or something.
It's not Zule. It's
Manzule.
Manzule River.
Exactly. Yeah.
Celebrating that there's been some changes, not so.
Exactly.
Some changes, not so.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the argument. That if you stop the mining for some period, you will see some changes, just as you've seen on Manzule that you're celebrating.
No, but you see, it is not an automatic deduction that when you stop, in that particular place, the measures that were introduced were basically the NIMOS enforcement.
Okay.
So what we have to look at is that it's NIMOS.
No, hold on.
I'm coming.
Hold on.
To finish
Those interventions. I think those interventions.
They were because they were because of the active NIMOS deployment in those areas.
Good.
Question: is NIMOS being deployed across the rest of the other areas? Yes. To the point
I love this. I love this. So let's hold on there. You are saying that the Amanzule River is clear, right? Because of NIMOS deployment.
Absolutely.
That's so.
Yeah.
Great. So it's because of the deployment we've seen some changes in Amanzule.
Absolutely.
So by same logic, if the same in other areas, if by February we had done that, wouldn't we be seeing a lot of these water bodies regaining just as Amanzule has done?
Frankly speaking, when we're in February, it is in February that government machinery was being installed.
I get it.
9 months came into being thereafter.
I get it.
So you see, we can't expect the results to be automatic. But what we should focus on, however, is that is there a plan? Now you have agreed that because of 9 months' deployment, we are seeing some improvement. So
that's your agreement. No, but I'm basing on that agreement to say that.
So if
I'm saying that
agree as well,
when you were coming into government, you knew that the very challenge our very existence was Galamsey.
Really?
Which means that you wouldn't be asking for 3-4 months to put a team together to deal with that. So because before you came in, you knew the challenge.
Exactly. So what we have to look at is that I think we're on the same page. We are both agreeing that if you enforce the laws, you get the necessary results, yes or no? Yes. Are we enforcing? As I speak to you, I've already mentioned that there is a plan to deploy stationed military personnel across all the water bodies and all the 44 forest reserves. We have been trumpeting this. That's why that's what the minister said, that now they have been designated security zones. Okay, yes, it's a plan. What we need now, the map out strategy is already concluded. It's the monetary resource. The Ministry of Finance has given the assurances. It's only a matter of...
So MFA asked you, for the young girl who is going through her we call it period now, who is in Kwenyako area, who needs clean water. You say plan is to introduce NIMOS onto the river bodies to ensure that we get it. But how will she get
in the meantime, water? That's what I'm saying. There are stopgap measures that government would roll out.
Which you don't know when it will be rolled out because you need money.
You see, so it's not a case of not knowing when it would be rolled out. No disrespect, and not to sound condescending or exclusive or insensitive, but that is not the only area that has that particular issue. So even when you are rolling out the program, you realize that you may hold one, but then the bleeding would be at another place because it's a national crisis. And that is why I keep on saying that we shouldn't isolate the problems and then seek to be amplifying the isolated cases, because when you do that, let me tell you.
No, it's just an example.
I know. Exactly.
Unfortunately, at some point in this fight, you have to isolate. You know why? Because you would have to be in your period tomorrow.
No,
you're going to be drinking the water, and you have arsenic maybe years later. But this one,
okay. So what about the other areas where there are young girls? I'm coming. What about the other areas where we have young girls? Okay, going through the same thing, but then government has worked so hard that the water situation there has improved. Okay, how do we...
Which areas?
I'm coming.
Which areas?
Why are you saying...
Which areas?
Where?
But escape, you just mentioned Amanzule River.
Where again? Tell us.
No. So you've not been seeing the
I have not, so tell me.
We can stay on Amanzule.
So then you have to walk where you put the priority. Hold on. Which community and what are the variables to build out?
Let's even stay on Amanzule. Okay, so if there's a young girl there who would need that water for her routine monthly activities, we can agree that she's better off than our sister that we saw. So that's the point I am making. That it's a national crisis.
She's better off
because yes, she has cleaner water to help herself as compared to those who are in situations where they don't have clean water.
Which is the majority.
So no, we don't.
You mentioned that it was because of NIMOS, and you are taking a decision earlier, and it's NIMOS that gave you that result.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we'll pick up on this conversation. I know. No,
are you done? Yes. Are we not done?
Yes.
Are we done?
We are. So,
I thought.
Do I still have Efwa? Hi, Efwa, and thank you so much. I was hoping that I can come back to you, but the time has become just a real time. But again, we'll pick up on this conversation. Brighter PI Executive Director, Child Rights International. Again, we shall pick. It's a series, and we're going to be picking up on this conversation. Thank you for joining us on the segment. And Pakwesi.
We are done.
Yes.
Give me 30 seconds. I think that it's important for us to put on record that this development, government takes it very, very seriously. The truth of the matter, however, is that in reality, we may not be able to extend the impact of our interventions across board. But it is only a matter of time. There is the political will from the sector minister, Honorable Emmanuel Amakufibwa. The president shares the same thing. And like the minister has said, the fight is a marathon and not a sprint. So some of the results may not be
Would you be the postmaster to give this part of my letter to the president?
No, of course, all of us are interested in
Thank
it.
You
so
much,
that's the point.
But Emifa, before I leave, please. Yeah, I just want to say that we shouldn't politicize this issue. We are talking about basic things here.
Yes.
How does the girl survive in this state? And I kept on saying that Ghana Health Service should give direction. I'm not here blaming any government or previous government. We are just talking about how to survive in a very precarious situation. And that's all we're asking for. Of course, governments have done so much in the past, but the reality is the water is bad. The water is toxic. The water is killing people. What do we do right now? That is all we are asking for. Thank you.
It's a matter of time.
Thank
It's really a
you so
matter of time.
Thank you.
We'll be out of all of
What
this.
water do you drink, though? We'll talk about it later, but please go on.
I know the water kind of drinks, but I won't say it. Now, we'll leave you with AM Business, and the Chief Executive Officer of the Tree Crop Development Authority has been sharing insight on how the authority plans to scale up production and value addition in Ghana's tree crop industry. He has been speaking to Joy Business's James Eshan.
The Tree Crop Development Authority had been at the center of Ghana's drive that with respect to agriculture export and also boost farmer incomes. I'm joined by the Chief Executive Officer of the Tree Crop Development Authority, Dr. Andy Osei Okra, to help me unpack, what's happening within this space, what lies ahead of him, and the plans with respect to this particular sector. Doc, grateful to have you. Now, let's start. It's been 8 months since you were appointed. How is it going so far?
Thank you very much, James. I would say so far so good. It's been a very interesting journey, a compelling one, and I like challenges, so I could say it's challenging at the same time fulfilling. So far so good.
Now, the big question out there had to do with the mandate of TCDA. There are quite a number of people who seem not to know your mandate, your objectives. Can you run us through what TCDA is all about?
Thank you very much. As you rightly said, it's true. TCDA is a nascent, growing organization, barely 5 years since its existence. TCDA, that is Tree Crop Development Authority, was established by an Act of Parliament, Act 1010 of 2019. And then the authority itself was launched on September 2020. And then further on to 2023, the legislative instrument LI 2471 to operationalize the act was also promulgated. So that is how that short journey has been. And the simple mandate, if I'm to put it, is the Tree Crop Development Authority is set up to regulate and develop the production, the promotion, and the marketing of 6 selected strategic crops that I call it as COMS. COMS in the sense that the first C COMS. The first C is cashew. Second, coconut. Then we come to oil palm. We come to rubber, mango, and shea. That's the 6 selected crops. That's C COMS. I repeat it again: cashew, coconut, oil palm, rubber, mango, and shea. So the Act set these 6 crops and gave the mandate to tree crops to ensure its regulation and development, so that Ghana can benefit financially and economically from these 6 selected crops. The reason and the rationale being that over the years, Ghana has depended a lot on cocoa. Cocoa has been our backbone, as you all learn in school. The backbone of agriculture for economy for Ghana is cocoa. And cocoa has done well and continue to do well. But there are other economic essential crops, tree crops we also have in Ghana here. And that's what
the framers at that time realized that we can depend on these 6 crops, and that can also be the game changer for our economy. So the Tree Crop Development Authority was set up to ensure its development and its regulation. So that is our mandate to ensure that in terms of all the actors in these 6 crops, from cashew down to share, are properly regulated. And if I say regulation, that means you are able to license, register and license them, put structures in there for them, put some environmental and conducive environment for them to thrive, make sure their pricing systems, make sure development in terms of production and productivity goes on. There are several things that goes with that. So that is the mandate. So and when it comes to these 6 crops in Ghana here, then it's this authority responsible for its regulation and development.
Since you were appointed, I've seen you go, I mean, you've done some number of trips, gone across the country and all of that. Now, one will be wondering, how is this going to contribute to our economy, especially the agricultural space? Also, we understand it's also more or less a way to diversify our export with respect to agriculture produce and all of that. So the question here is, how is this going to contribute to our economy?
Thank you very much. As I've indicated, I think as a country, we have realized that if we diversify and put less of our strength, not only on cocoa, and rather focus on these 6 crops, then it will be the game changer. So one, in terms of food security, cashew is food. They even call it that it's a poor man's food and rich man's business. If you take coconut, all of us drink coconut and eat coconut. If we invest in that, coconut alone can change the financial scheme of the country. Then we come to oil palm. So again, this is real gold. Rubber is another huge industry. Mango, these are the new areas. Share, as you know, share butter goes everywhere, and a lot of confectionaries use share. So if we are able to invest well and get the production, more production and productivity in these 6 selected crops, then obviously it's the economy of the country that is being changed. Because if we are able to, one, add value to them, produce more, and then add value before we export, of course it's going to bring in a lot of forest to the country. It will create a lot of jobs. I mean, look at right from nursery, how to even raise the seedlings down to the final product. It's all jobs across its value chain. So it's an area to be able to expand in terms of job creation and in terms of economic value, money being added to our economy. So if, for instance, we have a strategy that is only looking at if we are able to invest the needed infrastructure, the needed capital into these 6 crops, averagely we think that annually each of these crops should be able to give us $2 billion US. And if we are able to get 2 billion averagely from these 6 crops, we multiply by 6, we have 6 billion annually coming from that, and that alone is huge enough to change the structure of our economy. And that is why we think that we need to focus on the tree crop sector and make sure that people really know that this is an area, an economic area, an agriculture sector that needs to be given attention to create the needed jobs for us, and then the requisite finances that go with it.
Now, what have been the challenges within this space since you took over?
The challenges are huge, as you know. One, people are not aware of the authority. So they don't know that when it comes to these 6 crops, the Tree Crop Development Authority, TCD, is mandated to regulate and manage and develop. So a lot of people are handling that. And before the emergence of the tree crop, others were handling these crops in their sectors. So now there's lack of coordination.
So some are still handling, and then it's not coordinated very well. And what recently we had a policy dialogue to bring all these things to the fore so that people will get to know that when it comes to these 6 selected crops, the place to go and the right authority, the apex authority mandated to do that is the tree crops, where we have to coordinate. And then we can work alone and liaise with the relevant institutions to do that. So in terms of coordination and people getting to know about the authority is key, is a challenge. And we are working hard and harder for people to know about Tree Crops Development Authority and what we are there for. The other one is also about the industry itself. If you take each value chain, we have issues. Take oil palm, for instance. We know oil palm is doing very well. It goes into the final refinery. There are a lot of vegetable oils that we are taking. We only know of them. We think it's only the palm nut soup that we drink, but a lot of things are being done using oil palm. And because of that, there are a lot of influx of vegetable oils, illicit ones from neighboring countries, and that is affecting the sector. You could see that people are bringing vegetable oil and then crude oil from other countries through our neighboring borders and gets here, and that comes to flood the market, and that affects the oil palm industry. So the industry is also struggling. That's another. So they are on us, and we are the authority responsible to regulate and then make sure that there's sanity in that. We come to rubber. Okay, rubber too are complaining. Yes, they are not getting enough and are not getting access to the raw material. Something that they are exporting outside, the raw cap lamps. So they want it to be bound and all. So several things. So we need to make sure that we get to the people on the ground, understand it, and then see how best we can provide solutions to that. So these are all challenges. You go, the same thing goes to share. The share to go to the north, yes, the women are the biggest pickers, they are picking it, and others are too as exporting that, others are also processing. Then processors think that they are not getting the share. So we need to also stop some people. So we are in a situation where we have to ensure that all the value chain, right from pickers down to the processor, get what they need, and they have to all be in business and they have to be working. So that is what we are dealing with. But what is so good is, I think that what is good is stakeholder engagement. And we have done a lot, and we are going to do more. That will be on the ground. We really understand what the farmers' challenges are and how we can come to their aid and support them. We go to what the traders also need, go to what exporters also need, and then processors need. So engaging with one another and they coming out with the solutions is what we are focusing on. So these are some of the challenges, apart from the normal getting the needed resources that you need to be able to do that, we are facing. But the real one is the industry players themselves to realize that TCDA is there to regulate. First of all, if you want to play any role, you need to be an actor registered and licensed to do that. So we are drumming home this message for them to know, and then come to our aid, or we'll reach out to them to be able to regularize the system and the industry that they are operating in.
You spoke about the oil palm. I personally come from a farming community, which of course we seem to have some of these problems. How is the authority making sure that since there is an influx of these oil palm into the country, how do you cut that? Are we producing enough to meet the demands out there, or what exactly is the case?
Yes, as you said, Ghana produces almost 400,000 metric tons, or consume 400,000 metric tons of vegetable oils, and out of this, almost 350 is produced here. The deficit of 150,000 is coming from outside. The industry has the capacity to produce that, but because of the illicit influx of this oil. So TCDA, together with the Oil Palm Development Association, OPDAT, and other relevant stakeholders, i.e. the police, immigration, national security, are coming together, and with our sister body, GUTA and the rest, we are teaming up to understand that this is about the country, and we need to protect investment, and we need to create jobs. So we need to address this illegal situation. So very soon you'll see, as we are embarking on a lot of education, that first of all, if you are into any oil importation, into any vegetable oil business, a palm oil business, you need to identify yourself with TCDA. We have to register you and give you a license. If you are going to import any oil, you need our permit to be able to do that. So that's the first thing to start with. So if you are not a registered member or a registered actor, you don't have the license to do that, and it's illegal, and the law has to take a course. So we are going to embark, and we are embarking on education to do that. At the same time, then we will also get to where the loopholes are, the borders where people smuggle these things. So together with customs and GRA, together with police, we make sure that these things can curtail. Whilst doing that, then our refineries are able to produce and then produce and serve the market, so that they continue to create jobs for Ghanaians, and then we'll have sanity in the system. Now the situation we have come to meet, it appears that it's free for all. People who are not registered on license, they are not paying any tax, or because of that they can bring in their product and sell it cheaper just to disrupt the system. So we need, as a regulator, to ensure that there's fairness and there's sanity in the industry.
All right, so welcome back to the AM show. After listening to what a tree crop is doing, let's now talk about the Flying Eye Hospital. Now, that's a project by an NGO called Orbis International. The Flying Hospital landed in Ghana last week to train eye surgeons at the Kolebu and Konfanoche teaching hospitals, and also to perform some selected eye surgeries in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. And you'll be dazzled by what these people do. You see behind me that flight there. That is what they do, all the things they do in. Maurice Geary is the director of Flying Eye Hospital, Orbis International. He's here. Adolf Olenu is country director of Orbis Ghana. Gentlemen, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So Maurice, I'll start with you. What does the Flying Eye Hospital do really?
Yeah, so on the Flying Eye Hospital, our focus is on providing training for local eye care professionals. So we're training ophthalmologists, nurses, anesthesiologists, and biomedical engineers. And the focus really is on delivering them with the skills they need to improve their surgical skills and the care that they can provide in their communities.
And what is driving this?
So what's driving it is a need for access to better eye care globally. So 90% of avoidable loss is actually in low and middle income countries. So we know that the access to services is great, and we're trying to play one part in that. So here in Ghana, we've been working for over a decade, Adolf and his team, working very closely with the Ministry of Health. And the Flying Eye Hospital is coming in to play one part in that, in partnership with them, to try and improve the surgical skills and the delivery of care available here.
And I read Kolebu and Konfanoche. Are these the only two institutions, or?
So our training is going to be based physically at those, so in Accra with Kolebu and in Kumasi at Konfanoche. But we're actually bringing doctors and nurses from around the country, so from 23 other hospitals across Ghana.
Okay. Let me bring Adolf now. Adolf, so I'm told you've been in operation since 10 years ago. What has the experience been like for your team? And what do you think needs to be done apart from the training you're doing to really improve the healthcare services in the eye area?
So, thank you so much. And as Maurice rightly mentioned, 90% of all people suffering from vision loss are found in low and middle income countries like Ghana. So for the past 10 years, as an organization, Orbis have been working very closely with the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service, Ghana Education Service, to help strengthen the eye health system. So our work has been direct collaboration with them, looking at the existing system and then trying to plug in eye health into it on all the levels to ensure that we can address some of the challenges with access.
Okay. And we're expecting that we're pulling 25 people from across the country. Which regions are they coming from?
So for the training, and again, with their host institutions, Komfanochi Teaching Hospital and Kwalibu Teaching Hospitals, but all the participants, and there are more than 25 participants, but they've all been selected from across the country. So there is not just one particular place that we are selecting the participants from. And then the participants were also selected based on availability of human resources and then the need for training as well. So we work very closely with the various professional groups to select the participants in the health facilities.
Maurice, how do we measure the impact of the trainings that you do?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that's one of the reasons why I think our best projects are done in places where we have a country office, where we have these long-term relationships with the Ministry of Health. And the other thing I think is really important for the Flying Eye Hospital project is that we partner with teaching hospitals. So you see here in Accra, it's here in Accra and in Kumasi, our partners are teaching hospitals. So they really are sustaining the long-term goal of training the next generation of eye care professionals. And we're just able to come in and play our little part in that.
Oh, okay. So Cape Coast has a teaching hospital. So it means that one day it will get to Cape Coast Hospital, right? Because it's a teaching hospital, not so.
Yeah, so our goal is eventually to, increase access, which is very important. And then once we are currently, as I mentioned, we are in Greater Accra and Ashanti region, and over time, and then with the right level of support, we will be able to expand to other areas to ensure that everyone will get the quality eye care services that they need without necessarily traveling for longer distance or even going outside the country.
When you mention the right support, what support are you looking at?
First of all, we would like we are working with government to have a national eye health policy that would also serve as a guideline, a framework for eye care services across the country that we are also very committed to working in. Then we would also, we've received a lot of support from the Ministry of Health and then the other institutions that we have been working on, and we are really counting on that support being existent, and then we can continue on that to build upon our current initiatives.
All right. Giri, I read that you came here last week, right? How has it been so far?
It's been wonderful. Yeah. So this is my second time in Ghana myself. I was here in 2019 when we did Flying Eye Hospital project. And for my project, it's actually the fourth time we've been in Ghana. This time has been amazing. It's sort of met some old friends from 2019. And just the welcome we've had and the hospitality has been incredible. And I must say the support we've had at the airport has also been amazing, which we need a lot of support from Ghana Airports and the Aviation Authority to make our project possible. And things there have been running really just seamlessly. So it's been great.
So you will undertake some surgeries as well?
So here in Accra, all of our training is simulation training.
Okay.
So we're using virtual reality and artificial eyes to train the surgeons, and using high fidelity mannequins to teach the nurses and anesthesiologists. We're going to send a clinical team up to Kumasi, and they will do some live surgical training. So with patients from CAT and training the doctors from there.
Okay, all right. And what will be the assurance for, because as you say, they will do live trainings, right? So they'll be operating on people. What's the assurance that if they're operating on me, for example, what should be my confidence level that it is on me that these guys will be undertaking the trainings?
Yeah, it's another reason why our partnerships are so important. So we partner with, our partnership with Komfanochi Teaching Hospital goes back many years. So the patients are patients of that hospital. The surgeons being trained are surgeons of that hospital. So Orbis will come in. We have a huge pool of volunteers that we actually bring to international experts that we bring to deliver the training. So the confidence level should be very high. And our goal is that after our program, the confidence level in the surgical confidence level at that hospital has improved as well.
Okay. Maybe I have to put this question to Morris, because you chose Ghana 10 years ago. Why did you decide that out of all the countries in West Africa, it's Ghana that you would choose?
Great question. I think, Adolf, do you know more about the history of Orbis in Ghana?
I will have to get back to you with all the details, but it's around that time that there were Orbis International was expanding our footprint in Africa, and then Ghana happened to be the country that was provided the right environment for us to expand our work here. But we'll get back to you.
I was just imagining, could it have been that at that time we had a certain high rate of people with cataract or something, and that prompted it? But that's fine. I'm okay with the response. What is the future looking like for Orbis in Ghana?
So for Orbis in Ghana, we are very committed to supporting the eye care system. And with the great partnerships that we are currently enjoying with the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Education Service, the various other institutions, we are looking forward to building on our current successes and then expanding our work and our footprint across the country, because the most important thing is making sure there's access to quality eye care services across the country.
So if, say, the people of Cape Coast Teaching Hospital are watching us now, and they feel like, well, this is a good thing that can help us improve the services we render in our hospital in Cape Coast, is there any means that they could probably take the step in getting Orbis to be a partner, so you take the Flying Eye Hospital to them?
So I would say with the Flying Eye Hospital, because it's an aircraft, it always needs to be at the airport. But with our long-term work in Ghana, we are training participants from all over, eye care workers from all over the country. So we can be rest assured that we would have participants coming from Cape Coast and other parts of the country who would benefit from the skills that would be impacted onto them, and they can take those skills back with them to provide services to their community members and benefit.
Maurice, what challenge do you encounter in your operations, and what sort of support services do you need to enhance the work that you do for humanity?
I think one of the things that keeps my job so interesting over many years is that every time we do a new project, we face a new set of challenges. A lot of it is logistical challenges, bringing the aircraft, things like that. That's why our partnerships in country are so important. A strong relationship with the Ministry of Health is essential. We can't do our project without it. Also on the aviation side, strong support from the airport and aviation authority. Also internationally, our sponsors, so this project is only possible because of the support from our sponsors, Alcon, FedEx and Omega. So they're sponsoring the Flying Eye Hospital so that we can bring it to different countries throughout the year.
All right. So Maurice Giri, Director of Flying Eye Hospital, Orbis International. When are you expected to leave Ghana?
We're scheduled to fly out on the 4th of November.
4th of November. Oh, so you'll be here for that long?
Yeah, 3 weeks. The project will be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for 3 weeks, you'll be training these people through various eye surgeries that they need to be performing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So next week we'll be starting the training in Kumasi, but also continuing the training here in Accra. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Maurice, I'm interested in what you do, because this is good. Those of us who have eye problems, we need the best of specialists to take care of us. So it's good that we're giving in-service training to them to sharpen their skills. What must we expect to be Orbis International's contribution to the eye care sector of Ghana in the next 5-10 years?
So I would, also mention that we have just opened up a brand new office in Ghana. That is actually a commitment to Orbis's, it's a proof of Orbis's commitment to supporting eye care services in the long term here in Ghana. We recently got support from the Almond Foundation to implement a 3-year project in strengthening the healthcare system for eye health. And so with that, we are looking forward to building on some of these, and then in the next 5 years, as you mentioned, we would have been able to train more people. We would have supported with having the right environment in terms of the policy and to provide eye care services, and then have the systems in place that would support the work that would support efficient and quality eye care services across the country. And we are committed to being a part of that all the way.
Addo Safo, grateful to you for coming through.
Thank you.
He's country director of Obes Ghana. Maurice, I don't know if you have any last words you'd want to leave with our viewers before we take a leave.
I think my last words really here is just talk about the partnerships that we have. I think that the problem for access to eye care is large, and that the solution can only be achieved through really strong partnerships. So our partnership here with the Orbis Ghana office and the Ministry of Health in particular is going to help us see change in the future.
Maurice Geary, grateful for passing through.
Thank you.
He's director of the Flying Eye Hospital, Obes International. This is still the AM show. We will take a break here. When we return, we'll still have more for you on the show, please. Don't go.
Watching the AM show, and thank you so much for staying with us all through the show. We're nearly wrapping, but of course we cannot wrap up the show without talking about the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. And of course, our friends are here. Most of the vendors you're going to be seeing over there have just joined us. And Laurentia Ofori Amanfo, Sales and Marketing Executive, Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited. She'll be there. But this morning, she's joined me here. And Gloria Kumi, Marketing Executive at Superlock Technologies as well, joining us here in the studio. Of course, between 23rd to 26th of October, the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair will be happening, but we're giving you another reason, a better reason why you have to be at this fair this year. Ladies, thank you for joining us in the studio. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
That's my very good friend. She's well?
Yes.
I always say that I measure the progress with the length of the locks. But let me come to you, Gloria. Tell me a little bit about Superlock Technologies.
So Superlock has been in Ghana for the past 22 years.
22?
Yes. Providing the best on quality products and services to all, including after-sales service. Superlock is the only company that provides after-sales service. When you buy our products, we are not done with you. In the future, when you need anything, you can still call us 247 and we provide it for you free of charge. You only be paid for something when part of the product is broken. If not, it's free of charge.
For all the services that you do?
Sure.
Like for the rest of, like as long as you own the Superlock product?
Until you stop calling us.
Ah, oh, that's so nice. Until you, okay. Right. Tell me, Laurentia, have you been and how is it coming up with Elegant Homes? How are the new buildings coming up and all of that?
Yeah, so this year we are coming up with new designs. We already have the previous ones, but this time around we have new designs, and also we allow customers to also bring in their own designs or houses, what the type of house they want for us to customize for them.
Okay.
So when you get to our estate, you wouldn't see only our designs around. You see different types of houses.
That's quite new, right? It used to be very much.
No, we've had it for a long time, but this time around we are putting in more efforts to bring in different designs across.
Okay,
yes.
okay. When I come back to you, tell me the other services, the other parts of Elegant Homes that a lot of people did not know. But for you, Gloria, if you've been in this business for how many years? 22 years.
Yes.
I'm wondering what you're doing on the Joy News Habitat Fair. You like it, right?
Yes, we
Tell
do.
me why.
So because, you know, when you talk of Joy FM, you have a very loud audience. And with you, we've been able to achieve a whole lot of new leads. People didn't know Superlock much about it. Initially, it was just security doors and locks, but now we are the only company with a certified bulletproof doors, fireproof doors. We provide kitchens and wardrobes. We fabricate them according to your space. We have balustrade, internal wooden and metal doors. We do carports, pergolas, a whole lot. So With Superlog, just put up your structure and leave everything to us.
Okay, and so particularly, why did you choose the Habitat Fair to want to tell us about the 22-year-old Superlog product? Why did you choose it?
Yeah, because we want more people to get to know about us.
Okay.
A lot of people know us. As I said earlier, they only know us for the logs. But this is the opportunity for us to tell them about the other products and services that we offer.
And the other products will be?
Kitchens and wardrobes.
Yeah.
We do gates and fence. We do pergolas, carports, balustrade.
Pergola is that one that is on top of your car?
No, that is a carport. Yeah. Pergola is like a summer hat.
Yeah.
We have some with light, changeable roof. They are made of pure aluminium, so you don't need to worry about getting it rusted.
Pergola. Okay, so what? Gloria,
yes.
Tell me.
Okay.
So when you go into somebody's house, the compound, that one that people can have like mini bars and everything.
Exactly.
It's outside.
Yeah, people used to call it summer hats, but it's pergola now.
Hey, Okay. How did I think it is a blue thing that covers a car?
No, that is a carport.
That's a carport.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Laurentia, tell me the other stuff that people don't know about Elegant Homes.
Okay, so I'll hit on what we still have. We're still having the 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes. We have the company, an affiliate company to which sells the windows and the doors. We have cornices, plasterboards. So if you are not buying a house and you are building, you can branch to Elegant Homes. We have everything in stock. We also have other homes at East Legon that we are selling. We also have other ongoing projects. So we don't do only the real estate, we do construction as well.
Okay, that's good to know. Come 23rd of October, I know that, Superlogs is not one of the new brands. It's been in existence for years, and people can start engaging you now, even before then.
Yes.
But what are the special offerings for this fair?
Okay, we're offering 10 to 20% discounts on all our products. By terms, yes, terms and conditions applied.
Okay.
So from now till the 26th, they can all come to our showroom and we give them 10 to 20% discount. Terms and conditions applied.
You're stressing about
yes,
terms and conditions
because
applied.
we have a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so it's between 10% to
20%.
20%.
Yes.
So it's not that you pick and choose, you decide.
No, it's on all.
Okay.
All our products.
I want to know who gets the 10%, who gets the 20%?
Everyone.
Depending on the purchase. You
Yes,
do.
and the quantum of the products you buy.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Laurentia.
Yeah.
I like to bet the good news.
We are giving a 10% discount on all our prices, including a fitted kitchen, fitted wardrobe, free remote controlled garage, and many more. So we are encouraging everybody to come to our stand from 23rd to 26th to inquire more and enjoy the 10% discount.
10 good percent.
Yes.
Like 10, that I can hold your word
Yes.
to that. Okay. Well, beyond that, where can we locate you? I know you have just introduced the East Legon part, that you also have buildings you're selling in East Legon and all, but for your offices, where can we come and visit you?
So with Superlog, our head office is at Jowulu, opposite the Bayport Financial Service, KA Oforiata Street. We have one at Addo Dodowa Road, opposite the Puma filling station. Wager showroom at the Tetegu bus stop. We have Tema Community 11, the Vertical Plaza, Hospital Road. Okay. We have Takrade, West Anaji, and the Kumasi Airport roundabout, opposite the Total filling station.
I will allow you to reiterate it again.
Okay, so Accra's headquarters is at the showroom Jowulu, at the opposite Bayports. We have Takrade, West Anaji. We have Kumasi Airport roundabout. We have Adenta Dodowa Road, opposite the Puma filling station. We have the Wager branch at the Tetegu bus stop, and the Tema branch on the Hospital Road, Vertical Plaza.
Okay, this means that when you're on your way to Elegant Homes on the Addo Dodowa Road,
yes.
When you finish with Superlogs,
you can reach us on 0244 311 360.
Okay.
0244 311 360.
Okay. Laurentia.
We are located at Katamanso on the Addo Dodowa Road. You can call us on 0244 699053 or 0576 597419. On all our social media platforms, Elegant Home GH. You can reach us on website www.eleganthomesgh.com. Thank you.
Okay. Social media?
Yes, we are on, Facebook is Superlock Ghana. Instagram is Superlock_Ghana. Twitter is Superlock STL. We have TikTok also, Superlock STL.
Okay. Larisha, you have a website, right?
Yes.
Very
yes.
active.
It's very active.
Okay, you want to tell us?
ElegantHomesGH.com.
Okay. Okay, any contact numbers we can call?
0244-699053 or 0576-597419.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you at the fair, 23rd to 25th of this month. You don't want to miss the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Thank you so much, Gloria, and thank you so much, Larisha. You're still watching the AM show, and just a reminder that, well, the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair, at the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair, we connect you to reliable service providers in the consultancy industry, real estate, waste management, water solutions, solar installations, sewage experts, nails and logs, roofing experts, tiles, dealers, furniture, interior, decor, and more. We also have you covered with our security door experts, automobile solutions, security and smart home items, internet mortgage and financial advisors, and many more. Block your calendar from 23rd to 26th of October and make a date with your stakeholders in the housing industry. The venue, Accra International Conference Center. Time, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is powered by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and brought to you by Drive EVGH. Drive into a sustainable future. Virtual Security Africa, Safety and Home Solutions, Superlock Technologies Limited, DPS Pipes, Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, Gold Key Properties, Ayuda Special Gardens, DBS Industries Limited, Master, Lech Fortune Limited, LandlordAfrica.com, The Builders Market, Right House Energy, Syntex Tank, Automation Ghana, Interplus, Human Security Doors, Clifton Homes, Western Villas, MTN, Greenbox Sewage, EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair 2025. Dream it, own it, live it. Well, this is how we wrap the show, but a gentle reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Kenoga Company Limited and Syntex Tank. And once again, Ghana, let's talk about water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntex Tank, is a champion of water tanks. It is strong, durable, and built to handle our Guinean weather, rain or shine. It is raining, but of course you can trust Syntex Tank. It has your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex Tank family today and enjoy water storage as tough like a tortoise. You can call them 0244-335-168 to buy now or find one of their 400 agents nationwide, and as well, you can shop on syntexgh.com. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. Well, this is how we wrap the show, but I want to wish a happy birthday. Now, a happy 71st birthday to Irene Sarah Hesse of Osu Akwaje. Continue to age gracefully and in good health. We love you very much, Mommy, from your children, Pearl, Belinda, and Beryl Richard. And happy birthday, Mommy. This is from my very good friend, Beryl. Please enjoy your 71 and many more years. My name is MFA Kosiadetin. I did this with the Ahanta Pele. We'll see you again tomorrow. Stay well.